in the last 2 years, but I shipped this thing and loads of developers, like people at Amazon, Apple, Google, Microsoft, they're all using it. This thing that was created by somebody who does not write or even read code. And then I kept doing these live streams talking about GSD and like getting feedback from people and trying to implement changes and make it better and all of that. But there was no desire to monetize it. Not even a desire, but like there was no plan to monetize this thing. And I kept getting all these people jumping into the group, into the chat and being like, yo, man, somebody launched a crypto token for you. You need to claim your fees. And I kept just like responding to these people being like, yeah, you're some sort of like Nigerian prince, right? And I need to like give you my credit card and mother's maiden name. And then at that point, you'll be able to just deposit this money into my account. And this went on for like 2 days or so. And one day I woke up, checked my Instagram messages, and I had like 100 messages from people all saying the same kind of thing. And on one particular message, some guy linked to the Steve Yegg article on Medium about how this Bags FM thing launched for Gastown. And like the first couple of paragraphs basically just described my mental state. And he was saying how, you know, he told his wife, he told his friends, and they were all just like jaw dropped on this bizarre situation. And so eventually I did actually look into Bags app, saw that I could sign in with my GitHub OAuth, and there was like 3K just like sat there that I did it. I was like, fuck it, why not? We'll give it a go. And then boom, went straight into a wallet. And all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, this is fucking real. And since then it's just been insane. Like definitely diving into the deep end of this like whole crypto Twitter world. Like it's new to me. I'll tell you that for sure.
Welcome. You're in good company. So this is a great space.
It's high energy, and it's a reason to be on the internet. I'll tell you that.
Look, it'll keep you going, and they'll make sure you keep going. That's for sure. What are your like initial first thoughts of these internet capital markets, kind of just funding for open source projects? We've had some fascinating conversations just before you today about how this might be a new primitive for actually funding open source projects, which maybe would have gone unfunded for a while. And I'd just love to hear your thoughts on this primitive in general.
I think it's fascinating. I've seen a lot of controversy around this kind of thing on Twitter. Of people always love to talk on both sides of it. But I think from the side of somebody who is not, I'm not gambling, I'm not playing the game. Although I am one of the biggest holders of the coin now because I believe in actually what I do with GSD. But that being said, I'm not buying and selling. I'm not doing all of that. So speaking only from the perspective of somebody who's receiving fees for other people gambling on the success of the take up and the adoption of what it is that I'm building, I think it's fucking incredible. And if this is such early days in this new kind of landscape of where, like, I didn't have to give permission to anyone to go and tokenize my project. I didn't even have to give permission for them to create like an on-chain contract that I would receive fees. I think this is mind-blowing. And a little bit of background as well. Like, as I said, before I got into this whole vibe coding thing, I've been a music producer. I've had great success, toured the world, been doing this for over a decade, and I've had a lot of fun. That being said, despite having like millions and millions of listeners throughout the years, and I've got 75 million streams on all of my tracks, wow, it's hard to even
75 million streams.
Yeah,
it's not so bad.
Dude, what kind of music are you producing? Is there?
I make house music, like organic kind of world disco house music. But the thing is, like, the majority of my income, even with like big streaming numbers, came from shows, from touring. I live in Costa Rica now, and it's a lot harder to it takes me 6 hours to get to the airport. I don't want to go there. And so in many ways, it's like made it a lot harder. Even when I was living in LA, like it's hard, even with millions of streams, to actually support yourself as an artist consistently, because things like Spotify just come in and they piss all over you, and you get a relatively small amount. And anyway, a few years ago, I got into, for a short while, being a degenerate gambler on crypto. And I lost a lot of money and left with nothing, no lessons, other than maybe don't do that again. But what I can say is that it did spark this idea of, I had this idea, I was like, I don't know how this could exist, but I would love if somebody were to come up with a way that you could tokenize artists. And effectively, you could invest and create like a commodities market around the growth of that artist. Maybe it would be linked to streams, maybe it would be linked to like how much music they put out, but just to take this concept of like, okay, well, we're gambling on a meme right now. What if we were to gamble on an artist? Anyway, I gave it no thought really, other than it was just this little spark. And I was like, that would be a cool future. So flash forward to now, and a couple of days ago, I wake up to this thing. It's like, I see it's not just people creating these bags coins for open source projects. It's for YouTube accounts. It's for the guy who created, what was it? Like, I saw something hilarious the other day. The guy who created the original, I don't know, it's blanking, but something funny. The guy who created Clippy. Yes, yeah, exactly. And so I was just like, man, this is an incredibly exciting space. And the only issue I see with it is just the attention span of what I see in the crypto Twitter space already, is that there's just like the fine line that has to be trod, whatever, on, how do you create a system where people want to buy in and not just like ride this like hype train to just buy and dump? How do you create lasting value for people? And I have no answer to that. But to sum up your question, I think that this is just like a really, really cool new meta in the world of like, how do we invest in the ideas that we believe in without all of the red tape of, starting a GoFundMe or a Kickstarter, all of that kind of bullshit. So yeah, it's nuts.
Okay. No, this is great. And we'll brainstorm a little bit together, maybe a little later, on the lasting value that maybe you can add, or some thoughts we have, whatever. But let's talk about the GitHub here. Let's talk about GSD and what it actually is. You built this as someone with very little developer background, which just, I think, is a testament to how incredible vibe coding and cloud code has gotten. It's like mind blowing. Anyone with an idea can really get shit done if they wanted to. Can you tell me about GSD here and what exactly it is? How did it blow up, for those that are unfamiliar?
So I've been, should we say, quote unquote, vibe coding for coming up to 2 years now. I started doing like really shitty primitive garbage, just like inside of the Claude desktop app, copy and pasting code files out in VS Code. And so I've seen, like, I downloaded Windsurf the day that it came out, downloaded Cursor very early on. So like I jumped right on the train, even with no developer knowledge, just because I was like, this feels really, really, this is like an area that I think there's no going back now, you know? And so I started doing that, and I jumped straight into trying to build these complex apps. I was like, I'm going to build the next community app. I'm going to build a chatbot that remembers all of your history, can help reflect back your life's patterns and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I tried doing all these things, and the first few conversations with the chat, like scaffolding the project, they seemed to work quite well. You know, oh, brilliant, yay, progress, dopamine, we're getting somewhere. But everything invariably just kept tumbling into this pit of I didn't understand the code base, but also more importantly, Claude or Cursor, they had no idea what they'd written either. And so I kept doing this. I kept running into these issues where I was just building garbage that eventually I would just have to throw away. And this just, you know, slowly but surely, I realized that the thing that I needed to work on was not really the projects I was building, but the framework I was using to build the projects. Because if I'm not going to read or write the code, and I still have zero interest in doing either, I need to make sure that I'm setting it up so that my never sleeping, never eating, never complaining AI companion doesn't just like get to write the code, but to have like a dramatically improved understanding of the context, not just of what it's doing right now, but everything it's done in the past and why it did it. And again, the key thing here is I don't need to understand any of that. I don't need to know why you fixed that bug. Even the bug turned up. I just need to create a system where it allows Claude to continuously just know where it is. You know, because right now, a lot of people, they're using Claude Code, they jump in, they have a 200K context window that oftentimes is like massively reduced because they saw some YouTube video that told them to install all these MCP servers, and now they have only a 100K context window. They start trying to build something, and then they get to the dreaded, I'm going to be concise now with my context limit, and the code quality becomes garbage. So they have to start a new chat, at which point there's no memory.
I want to dig into this because what you talked about there is that your process of building these products and apps were what you worked on instead of the apps themselves, like the community app. And I hear this gentleman, Sahar B, I get other shit done while my team of agents work. So basically, you know, I'm like you, not a developer. We don't like, MCG doesn't even have a website, for God's sake. So we would show up to this and basically describe what we want. And all of a sudden GSD is doing it for us. And when you say get shit done, that means I'm focused on MCG while this thing's building me a website?
Yes. Although there is one key caveat here, and that is that I'm sure, I mean, I don't even need to say, I wonder if you guys have heard of Ralph. A lot of people are like stoked on these Ralph loops. And while I think that the philosophy behind it is epic and it really demonstrates a lot of the cutting edge powers of these models, the problem with it is that it kind of eradicates one of the key parts, I think, of like, if you are going to have quality vibe coded products, what's missing between quality and non-quality, or even like special and just mediocre, is human input. Because at the end of the day, it's not about like, yes, AI can build products right now. And it could probably go and follow all sorts of patterns online. But what makes something special and unique is your input, your stakes in the game, you know? And, you know, we could get kind of meta about this and say that the decisions we make come from the entire life experience that we've had, like the comic books we read as a kid and where we used to go on holiday with our parents. All of these things shape our unique individual view of life itself. And I think these are the things that they come together to ultimately mean when you make a song, when you create a product, when you even cook a curry for someone, all of these things overlap. And the core part is that you're giving your input, the things that mean stuff to you. So where am I going with this ramble? The key thing about GSD compared to a lot of these other flows that I see is that it always helps you communicate what it is that you want to do. It never just says, okay, I'll do that. It says, how do you envision that? What is it that you're trying to build? Is it like this, or this? Or tell me if you see it differently. And this is right from when you initialize a project. You run GSD new project and it says, what do you want to do? And you say, I want to build a web app, you know, for X. It's not just going to run with that. It's going to help you unpack that into a clear vision of what it is that you want. At which point it then moves on to the next stage and it does deep research into the actual domain necessary. So I don't want to go and learn what tech stack would be best for this. Obviously, I would like to be able to understand why we've picked that. So then it goes and does deep research. Then it comes back and it says, okay, based off of these findings, here are my proposed requirements, feature requirements. Like users would have to be able to have an account and sign in. Is this on the roadmap? Yeah, it is. Users would be able to have to X, Y, and Z. So you then form this requirements of, okay, this thing that you want to build, what would need to be true for it to be a success for you? At which point it then goes and creates the roadmap. And after the roadmap, you have the ability to then plan out and execute these phases. And you could just do it like that. Planning is an incredibly comprehensive process that takes the requirements, the project document itself, reads the roadmap, and goes and researches specifically how to implement the task at hand. It then plans it. It then checks the plan, that the plan would satisfy the requirements. And all of this is hands off, guys. But the key thing here as well is that when you plan a phase, let's say, for example, we're creating an admin dashboard for a product. There's a lot of gray areas in saying, build me an admin dashboard. What does that mean? What is it, cards? Is it table form? So this is where I created the discussed phase part before the plan phase, where it effectively looks at the roadmap and it says, what are every gray area here? Should the button be square? Should it have rounded edges? Describe to me the UX. Should clicking a heart automatically update? Should users be able to reply infinitely nested? You know, I'm just going off random examples here, but once you're done with that, it creates this context file that basically sums up not any technical requirements, no code-based stuff, but user requirements. How will this need to feel? How will it need to operate and work? So that when you then plan it, the research doesn't just take into account what's needed on the roadmap and the requirements to satisfy the truth of this completed project, but your unique desires of how this thing should look, feel, and operate. And so you just keep going through this. There's plenty of other features to it. But to wrap this up as a quick concept, the way that I explain GSD to like my mum or random friends who come over who have no idea about tech is, you know, when we started using AI to write code, a lot of people like myself who have no technical background, we would say almost like, yo, to a friend, I need you to build me a house. And then we'd fuck off and we'd come back. The house would be in shambles. There would be no foundations. We'd have no planning permission. And we would get irritated because our friend did a bad job. Now, maybe we should have picked a better friend or a contractor. But what GSD does is it says, before you walk away, it says, okay, cool. You want to build a house? Describe the house to me. Tell me everything about that house. And then it goes, okay, in order to make this house exist, in order for you to have those beautiful sachet windows or whatever, what would we need to do? Well, you need planning permission. So that should be first. And so what happens is along the stage, it breaks down a giant goal, which we could call a milestone, into a roadmap of multiple phases. So that would be the first one would be, legal shit in this context of building a house. We need all of this planning permission to be approved in order for us to actually go and lay foundations. You can't put windows on with no foundation. So it breaks it down into these steps. And then from
is
that,
GSD going and doing those like permitting process, or is that where human interaction is needed to like actually go and call the city and like do that as an example?
Yeah, I mean, any kind of things that put it this way, the way that I set it up is that anything that it can do on its own, it must. So It's autonomous to an extent, unless there is something that really requires user interaction. And just like the final note on that is that imagine I were to ask you to build a house. I were to give you all of these plans, but after each time that you did it, I wiped your memory and I burnt all of your notes. It would be very difficult to do these things if you had no track record of the tasks you've completed and the decisions you've made along the way. So in short, GSD is the system that, who made this? This is fucking rad, by the way.
I have no idea. Someone in the community, it's so sick.
Yeah, this is rad. I love that. But it takes complex tasks. It breaks them down into such a way that you do not have to think about anything, and then it builds it. And it allows you along the way to verify that these things work. And if they haven't, it fixes it.
Can you give me a practical example? Hey, I'm going about my day. Maybe I'm Dom, maybe I'm Lex here, whatever it is. I'm going about my day. Give me some practical examples of what this thing is cooking up.
So right now, a lot of the things I end up doing is using GSD to optimize GSD. So, I'll cook up some new milestone. I'll take some of the GitHub issues that people have requested and I'll explore those. And then I'll just implement it while I go away for lunch. But the funny thing is GSD didn't come about because I was trying to launch this thing. Music producer, I make a lot of, or I bought a lot of plugins over the years, like musical tools and stuff. And I got really into the idea of being like, okay, well, if anything is built with code, you could probably vibe code it. And so I was like, well, why don't we try and vibe code plugins? This is the next step on from my shitty attempts at making crappy communities and like kind of awful websites. And so I started doing that. And the quality of the plugins I made was just garbage. And so I realized if I wanted to start making plugins, similar to what I was saying before, I'd have to come up with a system that could do it. Because I did find after lots of trial and error, things did work. How do I systematize this so I don't ever run into the same problems again? All this to say is that eventually you can see that video right there. This is a plugin that I launched that we've had some epic support. I don't know if you know Sasha, the DJ, but he's like one of the trance legends. Like his team are going to be using this on the next album. I had one of the producers of Radiohead in Rainbows reach out. We've had like huge support from these big producers who are using it and loving it. It's a testament to the fact that vibe coding isn't always slop. But all this to say, like I made these couple of plugins and I was like, okay, well, how do I sell this thing? Because I can't just give it to people and say, please don't share it with other people. So I had to build a licensing system. I had to build all of these systems that like pro plugin companies have. And so GSD was the accidental build of how I built my synth and plugin company. I built this framework that would allow me to build my plugins and to build the backend for the system. And eventually I just realized I should just pop this up as like an open source project. And originally it was just called Plan and Do. It was something I was just like running in the background. I renamed it, tightened it up a little bit, put it up. But the irony is that I didn't build it to share with the world. It was like the remnant of having already built a successful, in 30 days, I turned over $35,000 with the synth company. And like that was real money, real users. I think we've got like 700 and something customers now.
Jeez.
And
wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, the way that I can see it as well is like, you don't have to go and build a web app. If you want to just create some sort of automation that could do X when Y happens, GSD can help you do that. You want to go and do deep research into something. You want to do analysis of some sort of thing. You want to write a book. You could do that because the goal here isn't to build software. The goal is to use software to achieve goals.
This is wild. I think it really goes to show that the future of products is going to be like niche professionals that are really good at one thing and they find a problem and they build a fantastic solution for it. And like there will be all these little businesses spun up where it just solves one specific issue just like this at a very high level. And I think that's fascinating. Like what?
Dude, you just wiped like tens of billions of dollars off Salesforce and like all these SaaS companies market share, just so you know. Just with that statement alone,
It's funny because I use Google for a lot of things. I don't know if anybody on earth really can manage to shortcut Google these days, but one thing I fucking hate is Google Workspace. If I want to have an email account, in the past, I thought that the only way that you could be like a pro is to have a Google Workspace so you can create your at whatever domain name that you've bought. And then you're sort of just like vendor locked in, raped by them on an annual basis. So when I started Sequence, I said to GSD, I was like, I hate Google. What are my solutions? And so I built a custom email system that allows me to have as many inboxes as I want and allows me to have like programmatic and just total awareness of the emails that come in, but also like the code base behind it. And so this anytime I come up with, anytime I run into an issue nowadays where either I don't like the company that I'm paying $30, $50, $200 a month to solve a problem for me, or I've just run into a new problem where in the past I would have gone and found a company to solve my problem for me. I approach it from the beginning and I go, what's my problem? How do I solve it? And then once I've solved it, how do I solve it even more? And how do I own effectively the entire stack of this? Even if I am sometimes using like, certain services for it, how do I consolidate the control so that I don't ever end up with a situation where like my data is locked into one company? I come from this perspective now where it's like, and I actually said this on a video the other day where it's like, I think the responsibility as a vibe coder nowadays is for you to assume categorically that everything is possible. You must go into it assuming that you can do anything. And I think this is a good mindset to have in life in general. But I think when you're approaching things with AI now, you cannot be bound by what even the internet says. Even if Claude says to you that something can't be done, push it, because I guarantee you it can.
So I got to ask, because there's like billions of dollars, if not trillions of dollars, that are locked up in the valuations of mini apps and like Calendly type things and all these services. Like, what happens to all of that? Do you think it's just like everyone just has their own version of these products that are instantly spun up as soon as they need to use them?
I mean, I think there's always going to be people who have no interest in development, even if they have like a fancy little UI where it's like, what do you want to build? And like nice UI animations. A lot of people are still going to just default to what's been done in the past. Adoption of new tech is slow. Most people still do stupid shit and will continue to do it even when they have proof in their face that it would be better to do it themselves. So I don't think, at least for the next decade, people are actually really going to start moving into this realm on the mainstream of being like, I can solve all my own problems. Because also I think fundamentally, like how I said before, that it's a good mindset to have, that you can do anything. A lot of people actually have just pretty negative mindsets in life in general. And so people will be held victim, not just by their circumstances, but by big tech and corporations and governments and all sorts of things. That being said, I think what's cool about this space is that a lot of people jump into my Reddit comments and they say, yeah, but if anybody can just create a plugin, why wouldn't I just create your plugin and not buy it from you? And I say, do it, man. Cool. Willy to you. Like, that's what I want. I want people to understand how much power they have to do what they want. At the end of the day, I'm not making things because, like, obviously I want income. Obviously I want to make money from my efforts, but I make things because I like them and I use them. And if other people want to use them too, that's dope. But
are you making money on besides like the token itself and the fees? Like, are you making money off GSD products? You mentioned the synth one, but do you have other products out there?
For now, it's just sequence.music, which we have 3 plugins, one Mac app that is a pretty kooky idea. It algorithmically changes text into MIDI so that you can play music as sentences. So like you can just type words in. We had a lot of support on that. And then there's a couple of actual like VST plugins that work in your DAW. That in and of itself is a profitable business that I'm going to continue to keep adding plugins to. I'm still working on some other things to put out, but by no means am I seeing it as like my only business will be that. Right now, I wake up every day and I go, what now? What today? What should we do? And like having this deep-seated knowing in your gut that like the only thing between me and my next successful product is just me sitting down and doing it is just like such a wholesome and enriching feeling to start the day with. Just knowing that it's like, I encounter any problem. And nowadays, let's say, for example, you run into any problem throughout the day. So long as it is not something that truly cannot be handled by AI at this moment, like I still have to take out the trash, still got to brush my teeth, those kind of things, still got to take a shit. All of that stuff I can't hand off to Claude. But anything that I could answer the question, can it be done with code? And the answer is yes. At this point, I could build solutions to it. I can do it in the morning. Like, for example, I got really tired of tweeting. Like, I only really just got back on Twitter in these past couple of days. And I'm obviously doing shit GSD. I'm working on stuff while I'm live streaming. And I don't want to have to like think about what I've done. How do I form this into a tweet and post it on my Twitter? So I created an MCP server that interfaces with my Twitter. And so like this tweet just below that, like scroll down one below that maybe. Yeah, this one. Today I had Claude 2. This was like while I was live streaming right now. And I just got it to effectively take what we were doing in the chat and format it in a way to let everybody know what I'm doing right now. And I literally just say tweet. It gives me a draft. I say, say this, don't say that, and press push. Like I could tweet right now while I'm talking, and I can just do it direct from the terminal. So like, again, what kind of problem did I have? I was bored of tweeting already. Like,
from the terminal, when you mentioned terminal, is this like a website?
It's where I'm running Claude Code. So in a GSD project, we're like working on something, or just even like just using terminal, like using Claude Code in it. I could even just say like, analyze this code base and make a tweet about like how it works.
And it'll send it. It'll just send it out.
Send it. Boom, send it. But it doesn't automatically send it. It gives it to me for approval first, because as much as I'm into this whole AI can help you with content generation, I don't ever want to get to the point where you're just completely removing your brain or any kind of sense of taste from it. I can sign off on this in the same way as if I had an assistant. I was like, my time is worth more making things than it is tweeting about things. If I had an assistant, I'd be like, dude, what are we working on right now? Post an update for the community. I think that's a pretty fair use of time.
Yeah. We got to talk a bit about the token here. Obviously, your product is open source, and I think you said something earlier where it's like, well, why can't someone just spin up the same thing? Well, I think now you've had an established community, it's open source, so like they can't really just do that because they don't have the contributors and stuff. Can you tell us about how valuable open sourcing this product is? And then we'll get into maybe the token and how you can reward contributors going forward and other things maybe.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, the way that I see it right now is that if somebody wants to come along and fork GSD and make GSDB, get shit done better, bully to them, feel free, run with it. If it's better than mine, I'll probably end up using it. But at the same time, like I think that the moat is the constant updates. The moat is that like I'm listening to the community. I have thousands of people. What do we have? Like 28,000 downloads this month alone. Like the moat is that I have feedback from people. And this isn't just me in isolation in an ivory tower anymore, deciding on what this thing should be. And so like we have constant community updates on it. And I think the power of open source is that the kind of people who are into submitting GitHub issues and like creating pull requests, these are people who are just inherently offended by mistakes in such a loving way. They're inherently offended by bugs that they could see need to be fixed. And so the power of this kind of mindset is that 24/7, I have people helping me help the world with this. And this just would not be possible if GSD was this like paywalled tool that I was like, you know, people have far less of a vested interest in improving something that they pay for. You know, they almost just like demand it be better. But when something's free, they want to jump on and like support. And it's just amazing. It really is.
What are GitHub stars? I see everyone talking about GitHub stars. Low Cap Hunter, shout out you. I see you in our replies. What are GitHub stars? And yeah,
a GitHub star is like, you know, you find a Git repo, and a star is in some ways it's like a like, you know. But the difference between a GitHub star and a like is the difference between a GitHub star and like an Instagram like, for example, is I would say that likes in many ways are pretty disposable. You know, when you're just doom scrolling, it's very easy to just double tap. The reason you would start a Git repo is because it provides interest to you, or it provides some sort of value. That's not to say that all 5,700 people in there like start it because they implemented it and they tried it out. A lot of people start things because they want to basically just support and add it to their list of things that they're interested in. But I feel like the difference between trying something out and not, like, that you have to have a reason to start something. I don't start something unless I downloaded it, played around with it, and I'm like, this is kind of cool. You know, so I think it proves that people are getting real value from this. Also, 625 forks. That's people who have now forked the repo because they're trying to create their own version or like play around with it, which is just rad.
Insane. What about the token? You got this token now. You're kind of making money off of fees. I think you're making good money today off of fees.
The token's going wild. It's like $6 million.
We had a giant spike when we guys started this. There was like a big green candle.
Yeah, love to see that. So
how much also a percentage that you own of the token? Like, give us the quote unquote tokenomics.
I think that I'm fourth biggest holder. I was third biggest. I have 2.05% of the token. And one quick note as well is that I have a vested interest in not selling, and not selling at all. And why? Is because so long as I can stay proper bullish on this and show that I'm not here to sell these tokens to make a profit. I'm here to make sure that one of the biggest holders is somebody who isn't selling. And so long as the coin keeps getting traded, so long as we see this play on the token, I'm making fees. I don't want to go and short, like, I don't want to go fuck that up. You know, so in my mind, like the fact that I can now pull up my bags and I can see this is such a lovely thing to look at. It's like I just pull up my bags, and I think I invested maybe like 11K. Oh, I've disappeared.
You're full screen now.
Nice. My 11K is now worth 123K on that token. I see this as $0. I'm not selling that. This is just proof that I'm staying involved. And again, I'm not gambling on this. I'm not here to buy and sell. If I do buy anymore, it's just for whatever reason that was. But to anybody who is holding, I'm not selling. And like, if this keeps going up, I make damn good money on these fees, and I'm stoked off of the fees.
No, the fees are insane. So like, how are we going to use this? Obviously, now you have a product, you have really good traction. It's, it's bootstrapped. There are fees going into it. You can basically do whatever you want to build this out now. How are you planning to use some of these fees? Do you have a plan to use the token? Obviously, we see people in the chart saying, look, senior devs love this from Apple, Google, Amazon Workflow. The numbers are skyrocketing. 5K downloads to 28K downloads in 1 month, 698 stars to 5.7K. Would you like make this token get, hey, you have to have X amount of GSP to actually use GSD to actually use get shit done technology? Like, what are the plans? Some thoughts that have been swirling around.
Get shit done enterprises taking over the world. What's going on, man?
At the moment, there's no plan to add any utility beyond what it is right now. The reason why is because for the moment, I see GSD as without the little $sign before it. The open source code project, still very early days. We're still going on it. This isn't that there will never be any kind of update to this, but the way that I'm using these fees right now, and a lot of people are very happy about, is that this is supporting me going full time. And so I invested, obviously, of the 63,000 that I've made so far, I invested 11,000 of them back into it. I'm also like, every now and then I'll just did like a 24-hour 50 or is it 100x boost on Deck Screener. So I am investing some of these things as well into just like helping get visibility on the coin. But for now, I'm just seeing this as a chance to be able to really go all in on building what I believe to be, at the moment, the most effective Claude Code framework that there is out there for people who want to see ideas through to completion.
So my question for you on Bags app, number one, is this the future of internet capital markets? Is this how open source gets financed in the future? And what are some takeaways, some key learnings maybe you would share to the next person? What do you think can be improved? What do you think is bad? What do you think is good about Bags app?
I think that the kind of like circling back to my point at the beginning of there's like a lot of ADHD kind of vibes I see in the CT world, which is what makes it fun, right? You know, it's like, but what's new? What's 50,000% up today? So I think while this is really helpful, there are a lot of people who are supporting GSD who don't use GSD, and that's rad. That's really cool. However, I also feel like there are a lot of people who use GSD who would not invest in the token because of the way that it is positioned, that it's still a very meme-based infrastructure, And I think, actually, before I got on this call, I helped my mum buy some GSD. She officially now owns like, I think 6 Solana of GSD, which is rad. But I think this like is a testament to how difficult it is to get into this thing, you know, because she had to go and create a Kraken account. She had to then buy Solana. She didn't know what a wallet was. So she then had to send it to her, and I guided her through the process, and that's all well and good. But I think one of the biggest things that could happen for this realm is to make this easier for people to be onboarded into this, and maybe make it easier like on some kind of centralized exchange for it, where it could just be straight dollar value. And if you could just buy dollars attached to it and extract dollars and not have to worry about like the added volatility of Solana going up and down, this very much is something that I think in the next decade could be a really interesting space of like, okay, cool, well, how do we let people invest in ideas? And how do we let people benefit from investing early in ideas? And I don't just mean VCs, but I mean like somebody who finds something on Instagram, some creator that's making beeswax candles, and they love this creator and they want to invest in it, and they want to see effectively dividends as that person grows their beeswax candle making business. I think that would be helpful. And so pegging the value of this to the dollar and creating some sort of infrastructure where it's not based off of just these like, okay, how do I create a wallet to send this? You know, by dollar, I mean USDT or something, you know, like pegging it. So you would still need to, we are still talking crypto here.
Yeah.
But I think
you could get liquidity pools that are based on dollars. And if you need help with that, like our partner of our show is Meteora. So they're all the underlying trading infrastructure. Yeah, we're kind of like their live stream division, if you will. So we could make a relationship there to the Meteora
that would be
team.
rad.
They might be able to help you out on a technical level, kind of set these things up.
That's right. I did see there's MEXC, you know, it's like they now have GSD pegged to USDT, which is cool.
Yeah, MEXC is an exchange that has a kind of varying history of, you know, good actor, bad actor. Some of the exchanges are a little dicey, but the on-chain, you know, like the infrastructure layer, Meteor, what they've built is
I see, like actually on-chain, you mean?
Yes,
yeah,
you can
everything that
have
happens. These centralized exchanges are all transacted off-chain. You can't track them. It's not like it's off-chain, so it's like
they hold the user funds.
I see.
On-chain is just held in a physical wallet, transacted through the blockchain. You can see everything. It's held in your custody.
Go to you.
Yeah.
Rad. I see.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah. I mean, this. If my only addition to my previous comment then is like, if this evolves into being something that can still be like fully Web3 mindset based, everything is as it is to the best of ability, but regular norm core people can just easily buy in and support their heroes, support creators doing things that make sense to them. Here's a great point that I must actually make is that a lot of people have their argument about AI is that AI is coming to steal everybody's job. And then what does the average person do? You know, how do you go and find a new job? And I have a kind of maybe a little bit, some people say a controversial opinion, which I say, well, if your job can be taken by AI, you're not doing anything meaningful enough with your life. And second of all, now you have a lot of time to go and figure out what to do that's meaningful with your life.
Yeah.
And if this can empower a next wave of creators being able to be like, okay, well, there is a roadmap for me to be able to go full time with whatever your weird passion is. I guarantee you there are plenty of people online that want to support you do it. If this is a way to be able to do that in a transparent and safe way, this is the future.
No, absolutely.
Pretty crazy stuff. You know, you actually said something a little while ago that I wanted to touch on. You said, I feel like most people are going to go to big brands to build stuff because they don't want to, and it's probably going to take a decade. You know, I'd actually push back. I think I saw even my parents and family and friends who are not even in the tech world adopt AI and use it every single day, you know, in the last year and stuff. And I think maybe that adoption curve is actually going to happen quicker, where I think if it's easy enough, if the UI is smooth enough, and someone can literally just go log on and build whatever they need to, I do think that adoption would happen quicker than a decade. So I don't know.
Holy GSD is $7 million.
Oh my God, we're about to hit an all-time high.
All right, GM guys, we are back. MCG Live here. Josh and Chill on the stream today.
Yo, what up? Huge stream today. Hope everyone is doing well. Markets seem to be kind of waking up a little bit here. Some altcoins outperforming, some stuff happening on chain. And then you also have MCG bringing up some huge guests here today. So excited to get in today's show. Hope you guys are doing well. I guess we can do a quick preview for you guys. So in about 15 minutes, we'll have TCG come on at 12:30. At 1:15, we'll have Swarms. We'll have the team there. And then at 2 p.m., we have the homies from Orgo coming on, Spencer and Nick. And we know there's been huge buzz around Orgo and just around computer use agents overall. So excited to dig into that conversation. Going to be a fantastic show here today. Ton of alpha to dig into. But man, where should we get started, Josh?
Let's get into some charts, man. Let's run through it. We got 15 minutes. Let's get the people what they want. What's moving markets? What are our trade ideas? What stuff can you guys add to a watch list? Again, it's all about building watch lists, building things that you should be tracking, figuring out what the next thesis is. So that's what we're about here. And if you have tickers you guys want us to look at, please drop them in the chat. Also, if you don't follow MCG Live, go ahead and follow MCG Live on X. Go to our link in bio. You can find our YouTube. And if you would prefer to watch on Twitch, we're also on Twitch there. So with that, Chill, you got some charts for us?
Let's run it up. Let's run it up. First story coming out here on Chain is, you guessed it, Copper Inu. If you guys missed it yesterday, Kobe put out this tweet. The cool thing, he said, the cool thing about trading metals is you don't need to worry that Copper Inu is going to steal all the mind share from copper while you're asleep. They're not making new commodities on Pump Fund every few seconds. Lo and behold, Pump Fund responded to this tweet by saying, be careful what you wish for. And holy crap, what do you know? Yesterday, a token by the name of Copper Inu launched on Pump Fund. And and it just so happened that yesterday, copper experienced its biggest drawdown in recent times. We know that metals have been going crazy, but it just so happened that yesterday gold, silver, and a few other metals actually dipped on the day that this Copper Inu coin started. So that's kind of the history behind it. We see some guys like I don't know if you guys remember him, Hajira, same guy that kind of pushed Fartcoin. He kind of is starting to catch on and push this Copper Inu narrative. We see him tweeting out here, and let me blow this up so that way you guys can actually see it. But he says copper, Inu, silver, and gold. So lo and behold, new metals are launching on Pump Fund. And here's the chart. Here's the chart of Copper Inu. Actually, not a bad chart. So here's the thing to be aware of here. If you look on Copper Inu, you go to the holders and you look, you'll see someone that holds like 8% or something like that. I think Hajira, I believe he basically bought like a ton of supply, and he's apparently going to be using that supply in some sort of way to push the Copper Inu meme itself. So I don't really know what that means right now, but I think Decentralize or Die actually had a nice post on this. But there was some connection between Copper Inu and here it is. So here he says him bought 10K worth of Copper Inu at 80K market cap off his main wallet. Got to wonder how low he got in on all other wallets. Main wallet is for exit liquidity. This is basically what he's saying. But he says predictions, he'll probably burn his supply off the main as an act of good faith. Sold the tomato since he knew there would be a sell-off, and is very calculated, probably also eating off the trading fees. So I guess this is what his reaction was to it, but there was some connection that I saw. I don't remember the tweet. I thought Decentralize or Die posted it, but basically there's some kind of connection between Copper Inu and Soul Tomato. Basically, Soul Tomato just recently received its own Solana wallet, and if you remember from Fartcoin days, him Hajira donated his supply to Truth Terminal and made it helped make it the first AI millionaire, and that's kind of where Fartcoin got its origin, and how that kind of played out, and we see that here. So basically, Soul Tomato, the tomato coin, basically has its own wallet now, and you can actually donate to it, so that way the AI can actually buy real things to help grow the plant, or grow the tomato. So there you have it. There you have it. That's the kind of theory that's being thrown out there as to why Copper Inu could kind of be good for the Soul Tomato coin, and why Hajira is involved. Whatever the case may be, I think it's a really funny meme in and of itself. You have the meme kind of being born out of this Kobe tweet, because Kobe literally named it Copper Inu, as we can see. And, there you have it. Now it's launched on Pump Fund. So that's kind of the big story coming out of yesterday. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I fell asleep after yesterday's stream. I was up at I've been up at like 4:30 a.m. pretty much every morning since being back and trying to normalize my sleeping schedule here. And I basically fell asleep yesterday at 6 p.m. I woke up at 12, and like my entire feed was Copper Inu and some other coin. So there you have it. That's the biggest story coming out on chain right now. Seems some guys are picking it up, some other KOLs. Apparently, not a lot of people are actually in. So that's why it's a little bit, people are kind of looking at this a little bit more bullish from a bullish point of view. If I'm getting involved in this one, let me just see here. I'd look for a golden pocket entry, like 8 mil. Yeah, that's probably where I'll set my buy zone. I don't think I'll buy up in these. Typically with these things, you have this sort of, again, discovery candle is what I like to call it, where all of the timeline sort of discovers the meme itself. And then lo and behold, there's some sort of FUD that causes price to dip. And then that kind of gives you an opportunity to buy. So that'll be my green box here for this one. If I miss it, I miss it. But I like the meme. Let's see how it does. So that's the first big story coming out on chain here. Copper Inu. Second, let's actually go back to a meme that we talked about yesterday. Remember the Surge platform that we talked about yesterday, guys? Remember? Come on, you remember your boy? Your boy called this out at what? Yo, Ave, if you're here in the chat, let me know. Ave, we've been in this trade. What's up? Ave, dude, I hope you got in this.
Shout out, Ave.
Hope you're doing well. He shouted me out on the timeline again. I love when we trade on the timeline together. But I called this one out yesterday. If you're in my TG, you also probably saw it in my TG as well. But this is the range that I had marked out. And, I'm like, this is the startup of, yes, sir, chill. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Abe. Congrats on the trade, brother. But yeah, so I called this out yesterday on stream. Again, if you remember startup on Believe, the product is the market cap. That actually, was a big mover on that platform. And so if Surge, with all of its partnerships and what have you, if that is as big as they say it is, then I believe meme coins as well on this platform will go crazy. And just in case you missed it, this is the Surge platform. They're partnered with pretty much every big AI name in the game: Google, OpenAI, Microsoft, Meta, Nvidia. They're also partnered with people like Circle, Solana, and even the New York Stock Exchange. So I think this platform can garner attention. And if memes are attention, we're basically front running that. That was a thesis yesterday, and here we are playing out live on stream. So you're welcome. If you missed yesterday's stream, you missed alpha. So you should be watching all of these streams. Just put us on. Just play us in the background. You know what I mean? While you're trading, just you might end up hearing something that you like. We cover everything here. It's the highest alpha per minute show on X. So there you have it. You're welcome. So yeah, nice little runner there, like 400K to 2 mil. Man, this thing is pumping right now too. Jesus, I might have to post in the TG and get things hype in there. But that's a nice little trade happening there. All right, what else do we have? We also have, let's see. I want to talk about Avicii real quick here. Let's just run through a few of these tickers. I want to talk about Avicii. A lot of people losing interest in the overall kind of neobank narrative that Avicii kind of started. And I told you guys yesterday, I said, look, bad BTC days are leading to these falling wedges on on-chain tickers. And these falling wedges have been playing out like consistently. And so I'm going to continue to play the falling wedges until they no longer play out. And lo and behold, look at this nice little falling wedge that's happening on Avicii. Nice little falling wedge here. I kind of want to see this. I kind of want to see this this breakout. But look, neobanking wasn't a narrative before Avicii existed, and so I think that the number one neobanking token in crypto, at least the one that was the darling of CT for such a long time, I think it can make a comeback here. And if you miss these levels back here right before it ran about 150%, 120% to recent highs, then you got a second chance to bid at the lows here below 30 mil, which I believe is a pretty deep value area here for Avicii. So very interesting chart. Another falling wedge I wanted to talk about here was this X1XH LOL. Man, what a ticker. Man, dude, somebody gotta like teach people how to make tickers sometimes. But this was a nice
Trying to
sort of,
refresh your browser there. See if it.
yeah, let me see if we can get this thing to cooperate with us here. Awesome. So this X1H LOL token, let's go to the 4-hour on this one. I believe the 4-hour is where this, actually the 1-hour, excuse me, is where this shows up the best. So again, falling wedges, bad BTC days lead to these falling wedges playing out on chain, and lo and behold, won't you look, another falling wedge playing out here on this time this eight. I'm gonna just call it X1X. Man, because that ticker is a handful. X1X. So here's another falling wedge that I noticed was playing out on chain. And so what's the thesis exactly behind X1X? Let's call it X1X. So here's the TLDR by the homie Contra. If you guys don't follow Contra, you definitely should. You're missing out on a lot of good info if you don't follow him. So Contra, he mentions here, meta or not, this will be very vital as we're at the infancy of LLM/AI agents expanding their capabilities. Only bags launched have a product ready that is enterprise compliant. Most of the others compete just with the Git. This is the only one with 100K stars plus product. With Claude, most have highlighted the security issue people are missing. That's where X1X comes in. The industry is heading into a phase where prompt attacks go from LOL jailbreak to real security incidents. So basically, this is a security kind of layer around some of these LLM products and some of these AI agents. And so, and he puts it well here. LLM apps are not just chat. They're becoming agents, co-pilots, inbox readers, doc editors, browser operators, etc., that can touch real data and do real things. And so that's the reason why this X1X, or it's called Zero Leaks, that's why this exists. Your AI system will actually do when what your AI system will actually do when someone tries to mess with it, and how much of your hidden instructions can leak out under pressure. And that's why this exists. Just a security layer around AI, LLMs, AI agents, etc. So, so something worth looking at here. 16-year-old founder, I think that is this was that project. So something worth being on your watch list. Again, falling wedge playing out, plus a nice little thesis behind it. So, so looking good there. Something else I wanted to highlight real quick, not chart related, but I just wanted to say, I wanted to say a few things. I saw something on the timeline that I thought was really interesting, and I figured, hey, look, I might as well just bring it out to you guys and just kind of see what you think about it. The homie Market Watcher, if you, again, another chat account. I have a list of about 100 or so accounts that I keep up with on a daily basis. I trim this every single day. I trim this list every single day. And Market Watcher, he's been on it and will be on it for the foreseeable future. But really good content here talking about narrative trading. So one of the things he said is you want to look for clean, professional setups live at the intersection of relative strength, where money is flowing, narrative, why it will continue, and attention, where participation and liquidity exist. If a trade doesn't meet all three, it's not a setup, it's a hope trade. We all know that emotional trading is not profitable in the long term. So I like this kind of, I like to preface this. I like to preface this, this kind of tweet with, we are trading narratives. We are looking at, where is the attention right now? Where is the liquidity? What's the narrative? Where is the strength in the market? What are people willing to buy right now? You look at that and you pre-position, and that's how we hit stuff like unicorn. I think that was called at, I believe, under 500K yesterday, and it's now tapping over 2 mil. What you want to do is you want to look at, what are people willing to buy? AI coins, meme coins, and then where's the narrative? Is the narrative there? And it is. So just something to be aware of. As we talk about these tickers, as we look at so many different things. And we have our TCG segment coming up here. If you're not familiar with the kind of narrative around TCG, it's something that we'll talk about more closely today. And it is a narrative that actually has a ton of attention. So something to be interested in here, something to take note of, especially around this conversation of, from a trading standpoint, how can you position yourself in this market, a market dominated by freaking precious metals? It's worth it's worth looking at where the relative strength is, where can the narrative form, and where is the attention now, where can it go? So with that being said, let's go ahead and bring up TCG, the homies, the boys at the Collective Group. How are you?
How you guys doing?
Good. Welcome. Is it do we have Jeff with us? Jeffy?
Jeff's here. Charles is here. Not so fast. Small family emergency. He said he's going to be pushing socials. We'll jump in if possible.
Good.
And he kind of gave us, anything on the token side that you guys want to talk about. He gave us kind of some talking points on that side, because he's more or less the token guy. Jeff and I are the Pokemon ecom. I mean, I've been in crypto for 10 years now or so. So I definitely have the understanding, but he's kind of driving the ship on that end. So if you guys have any questions on that, we got some talking points.
Awesome. Well, let's hop into it. I mean, just start kind of introducing TCG and what you guys have built here, because I'm a huge Pokemon fan, and but I've never bought digital Pokemon cards before.
We got
we can maximize this too, and have a look while you're doing that.
Yeah, so we got some packs here. This is kind of the stream setup. Obviously, we'll get you these packs ripped, and we'll do a live demo for you guys. But to start it off, it was kind of, originally we had been sitting on a fairly large, just kind of inventory list of Pokemon. And Jeff and I are both big Amazon sellers. We've both done 10 million plus through the platform, mostly shoes, a lot of clothing as well. And we know the e-commerce space really well. And we started to see this move into, Pokemon X crypto. And we talked with some of the guys and we said, hey, we have a big batch of inventory. Would you guys like to buy? I really love what you're doing. Never really worked out. And we were like, well, we have this big list. We can do this properly. And that was kind of the start of a conversation that Jeff and I were having. And kind of at the same time, Not So Fast and I were talking about this idea of box tokenization. So if you're looking at these very old Magic the Gathering boxes or Pokemon boxes that have very, very limited supply, not sure if you guys saw the Logan Paul box rake that he's doing, continuing kind of just kill and crush supply of this very, very old stuff. The idea is that you can kind of tokenize those boxes and burn to redeem and lower supply, but it gives liquidity to the market. And so we were both kind of having these conversations of like, we have a ton of modern inventory. Not So Fast has a lot of the older stuff and connections to that older stuff. And it kind of just snowballed into this idea of like, let's bring the quote unquote rip and ship market to the digital collectibles / crypto market and kind of put it all together. So I don't know if you guys follow any of the like rip and ship stuff on TikTok or like Whatnot or anything like that. But essentially, you go on, you can buy a pack. Generally, they are above market price. That pack, so this would get ripped. Those would be your cards, and then you'd have to pay something like $5.99 shipping. Some of the guys do free ship, but you'd have to pay some sort of shipping and wait for those cards to get to you. So we said, hey, let's move that all online. The idea that we can store all of the product and we can create this kind of digital binder and move towards this more digital to kind of keep everybody's inventory, right? So if you were to go, and I don't know if you want to share screen or if you have any questions on this beforehand, but if you went to our website, collect.rip, you can see kind of our inventory on hand. You can then go ahead and see some of our leaderboards to our biggest collectors. And all of this after purchasing a pack is ripped on stream. So you see your cards live on stream. And again, we'll demo this for you. And then as soon as those cards are done being ripped, they're added to your digital binder. They make their way to your collection and digital binder for your viewing. And then when you've built up a collection of, let's say, 10, 20, 30 cards that you actually want, you can then redeem those cards. So we have all the physical cards. It's all backed by physical. And you can redeem those cards anytime you want. And so I think it's just what we've called it is kind of the next step in collecting and digital collecting, right? You've seen some of the other big guys in the space, the crypto space, they're focused on slabs. We wanted to come at this at a collector level. People who want to open packs, who want to collect this art and want to see this art online. And then when they want that physical redemption, they can. And the reason I say this and bring up some other companies is you see a lot of the buyback stuff, right? Whereas we are seeing a lot of this actual physical redemption. We've shipped out plenty of packages. People are getting their cards. They're enjoying the cards. And so I think that's why we kind of went this route and kind of how this whole thing formed and started. So sorry to ramble. There's a lot to cover here. We have a lot of stuff that we're doing and working on and have already built and then are in the works and plans of building out.
No worries. Thanks for like giving us a view on that. I actually have your website pulled up, and Josh, if you want to share.
Yeah, I actually tried to share screen and it overdid his speaking. So I don't know if you can try speaking again just to make sure you're still.
If you want me to give it a shot. Yeah, it looks like I'm
good.
now seeing. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, you're
awesome. So just to kind of summarize everything that you told us so far. So basically, you're coming at the creation of this platform as more collector centric. You collect you collect all these cards and you have it available on your platform. And basically, there's a digital representation that is backed by a physical card that you guys like store somewhere.
Exactly.
And basically these cards, the digital part of it can be traded through your platform. But because it's collector centric, you see that a lot of users actually, they buy it through your platform, but they actually redeem it so they can actually rip it themselves. And they love the kind of collector side of that. Is that what I'm getting from all this?
Close. Yeah. An early process here. So really quick, sorry, Jeff, to cut you off, but everything right now is actually getting ripped on stream. So they're not redeeming something like this pack of cards. This pack will get opened and the cards. So if you go ahead and click on leaderboard really quick for me, we can kind of show you. Yeah. So these are kind of some of the collectors on our site. Go ahead and click Mecha Kong really quick. So these are all cards. If you scroll down, these are all cards that have been ripped on stream out of packs that he's purchased. And if you scroll down a little, so those are his featured cards. Those are like the best of the best that he's hit so far. And then if you scroll down, you can kind of see all of the sets that we've opened for him and cards that have come out of those. So if you click on any of those drop downs, you'll actually see more or less the cards that he has picked up from that collection. So anything that's highlighted and not grayed out is actually a card that was pulled on stream for him. And then he can redeem these cards for physical. And so we've had a bunch of redemptions. We just did our first redemption to Canada as well. We were a US focused site. We just did our first one, so we're expanding globally. And essentially, again, I saw that you weren't logged in, but I did have you guys create an account. And so at some point, again, we'll go ahead and open it, and you'll actually be able to see the cards that you hit added to your digital binder.
Whoa,
and
that's
then
cool.
Love it.
The idea of this marketplace is coming. We're playing around with a couple ideas right now. It's do we want to kind of create an NFT for each purchase and each card that is then tradable on a platform like, let's call it Magic Eden, OpenSea, or do we want to keep it kind of a little more quote unquote centralized, just for ease of use and to keep fees as low as possible? And we played around with both ideas. We've looked at, we're a Solana token, but we've looked at Base for the NFT side of things, just for creation and customability. But again, that's sort of future scope right now. We are continuing to just kind of hone what collectors actually want, right?
Got it.
And so again, if you want to scroll back and look at the set list section of our site, this is something that we think, is again, just very, very collector focused, right? So I don't know if you guys know about Pokemon. To find the newest set, it's very difficult, kind of to find and see a collection live and figure out, hey, what do I want to start collecting for someone who's brand new, right? So if you go ahead and click
can you break into the current Pokemon scene? Obviously, I'm a millennial. I grew up in first generation Pokemon when it came to North America, but what does it look like today? And are those cards valuable? Like, are people going into their closet and like, oh, I got valuable cards? Like, give us a slow down.
Yeah, Jeff can talk on this a ton. He's our go-to man here.
Yeah, I mean, the Pokemon market is fascinating, and over the last 30 years, just kind of what it's gone through. It was of course very, very popular when we were kids, trading on the playground with one another, and then we got older, we were in middle school, high school, etc., and it kind of died down, and a lot of those sets that were released during those eras have very, very low supply, and some of those prices are for sealed products or for the individual cards are just so low supply and circulation that the prices are insane nowadays. And ever since then, it kind of started picking up a little bit more steam into the late 2010s, and then during COVID was when, of course, it really started popping off, kind of alongside the NFT markets and that whole collectibles craze, as well as sports cards and things like that. Pokemon cards especially really just took off and went crazy. It was sold out. You couldn't find it anywhere. Scalpers were having a blast as well, just flipping cards. And yeah, I mean, and then so since then, and that was when that's when you saw Logan Paul and other influencers just really hype things up. Like, he bought the Illustrator Pikachu for $4 or $5 million in a PSA 10. He is now selling that, and there's probably market predictions of whether it's going to reach 17 million or not, but it's already higher than his original buy price. And that was back in 2020, and it really kicked off even more hype for the Pokemon scene. That was when everyone was trying to go and find all their binders or old collections from their parents' basements or attics or whatever, and hoping to get things graded. And some people were truly coming up on a substantial amount of money, life-changing amount of money, some people would say. And COVID kind of died down. People were going outside again, not really getting into the whole collectibles scene. Pokemon died down. It was essentially the kind of bull and bear phases that you would see in crypto or in traditional markets, whatever. It's very similar to that. And a lot of individual cards, single cards, for example, were the ones that usually went down during the bear market, whereas the sealed stuff, the out of print stuff, because it is by its very nature, if it's discontinued, it's depreciative as people open it. So those normally kind of hold value. The sealed booster boxes, the ETBs, etc. Those things kind of maintain their value. They're a little bit of a quote unquote safer play if you feel like expanding your investments into sealed cardboard. But and then in the beginning of 2025, with the release of TCG Pocket, the phone game where you're ripping packs virtually, and also with some really hype just sets like evolution sets with Eevee and all those, Umbreon, etc. We really saw just the kickoff of another bull market, for lack of a better way of explaining it. And since
I want to ask about two different things real quick before you get into the new stuff, because I want to know what the strategy is here, because we've seen people like buy all the Kabutos, for instance, from the generation, and then they have like a on-chain token for it, and like they take the fees and buy more Kabutos. And So that's like one strategy. Maybe just before we get to the new stuff, because I see people in Costco like pushing kids over and stuff to get to pallets. So like, yeah, what's going on with the old stuff versus the new stuff? And of course, then you have the unopened packs as well.
Yeah. So with the old stuff, obviously very expensive. I don't know if you guys keep up with the news, but Logan Paul's box break that he's doing for a first edition box, individual packs were selling between $38,000 and $45,000 for a single pack, 10 cards. Yes. The crypto market has definitely brought a lot of liquidity to it. So it's pushing it up because you get the promotion with it, and you've got guys who are in the crypto market spending 500 grand on a first edition Charizard and a 10. So the old stuff, it's very low supply, very illiquid, and you've got a lot of liquidity coming to the market from crypto guys, to be honest with you. A lot of the big collectors as well are kind of continuing to push these prices up. And then you talk about, tokens like Kabuto, right? Where you've got one guy trying to corner the market on a single set. Again, it's very illiquid stuff. I think any sort of change in demand kind of pushes these prices sky high. Does that demand sustain? I don't know. Versus some of the cards like the Charizard and slabs specifically, where they get graded in a 9, a 10, very high grades. That stuff I think has a lot of staying power. After the last kind of up and down, I was watching the sealed slab market. It didn't come down as much as I wanted it to. And a lot of people were left sidelined and have pushed those prices up. Right. And real quick, while we're on the topic of the new stuff, if you want to just click on Phantasmal Flames, click right there and sort by price. So instead of rarity, sort by price. Right there by price, high to low. And if you just click on that first card, that Charizard right there, you'll see the price. It's like a $600 card. And this is coming out of a $4 pack, essentially. Market price is around 6 or 7. We try to price all our packs about 10% under market, but these new cards have a ton of value coming out of these packs.
And do you know the supply of each?
No. See, that's the thing with these new sets. They print an insane amount, but the problem is the demand is even higher, right? Because you cannot walk into a store and buy a pack of Pokemon cards at MSRP at $4.99 or $4.49 because the demand is just so high. But they do say, with something like that, a card like that, 1 in 400 cards gets you an SIR. There are multiple SIRs in the set. So it's something like 1 in 1,500 packs or something like that. You'll hit a gold card or the SIR that you want. And so, you think about the number of packs that are printed. It's impossible. They do not release numbers on it. The Pokemon company keeps it all kind of under wraps. They print to what they believe demand is, but time and time again, demand has outweighed supply. They're actually opening up a new manufacturing center in the States this year into next year, to try to keep up with the demand. And something maybe a lot of people don't know, but Pokemon is the largest selling IP in the entire world. It beats out Disney. It beats out Star Wars. It beats out all of these different massive IPs that you're thinking of. And the demand is just so insane that you're seeing prices like this. This is, again, coming out of a $4 pack. You can hit a card that's worth $600, $500, $400. And then the further back you go, the chase cards from those older sets, now that they're out of print, demand continues to kind of flow, and they kind of just slowly make their ways into collectors' collections. And you see stuff like a PSA 10 Charizard from base set, the first edition, going for $550,000 was the last sale. They're thinking the next sale, the Logan Paul sale with that big lot and that big auction, is going to go for like 700 grand. It's almost $1 million card. It's crazy.
Just putting it in crypto terms, like, explain to me like I'm a crypto trader type of thing. So the way I'm looking at it is, this is like crypto from back in 2017. Like, you don't have a ton of altcoins. There's not like hundreds of thousands or millions of tokens. There's a very finite, small supply, not finite, but there's a small supply of tokens where there's this large demand coming to all of these collectibles. And Pokemon, it's starting there, but what does the future of look like? Is it kind of Pokemon centric, or is it kind of expanding to other collections?
There are other TCGs. Jeff, you can talk on this one. You know about the other.
Yeah, sure. I mean, so it's kind of like if Pokemon's Bitcoin, you'll see other, which one's going to be the Ethereum, which one's going to be the Litecoin, what other TCGs are going to take those spots as almost tested over time and proven themselves. And it's really interesting. There have been many that have come and gone. One Piece is a really big one right now. They've only been around for around 5 years, but they've continued to gain popularity, and they've continued to, like, their base set booster box is around 7 or 8 grand right now, sealed, which is pretty impressive for only being around 5 years old. But apparently, it's a great game. There's Magic the Gathering is also has some collector stuff, but they're more of a player's game rather than a collector's game. And they're
But to cut you off there,
yeah,
a CGC 10 Black Lotus from the very first set of Magic the Gathering, it's an older TCG than Pokemon is, sold for 3 million not too long ago. So like, if you want to call like the single card, and I wish Not So Fast was on to talk about this. He actually drilled a hole in a Black Lotus like 3 years ago or something like that, tokenized the whole thing. Like it was a big thing. So like he's been playing around with this tokenization of cards and sets and stuff like that for a while now. So if you really want to call a single card, the Bitcoin, it is the PSA 10 Black Lotus or the Black Lotus.
Wow.
In terms
So
of
we have 15 minutes left. I know you guys can go so deep on the cards. I would love to rip a pack, do a live demo, and then we'd love to talk more about the business and your model and the token, et cetera. So
of course.
Absolutely.
Sorry to drive in on it. So are you logged into your? I saw
am.
up top. Okay, so you are now logged in, right? So if you go up really quick to your collection before we jump over to me. Maybe you could share screen it, but you should not have anything in your collection yet.
Yeah, here I'll quickly share screen just so for posterity purposes, so everyone can see on stream exactly how this works. So here we go. This is my account. As you can see, no cards yet. My collection would be here, right?
Exactly. No cards yet, but you do have this pack here. This will be your pack. And so
I'm fired up, bro. I'm actually so excited about
this.
There
are some. While I'm doing this, if you actually went over, you don't have to screen share it, but if you went over to your to the Mega Evolution set, so we were looking at Phantasmal. Mega is the set before it, right? So you start with a code card, and this actually gets you a digital pack through Pokemon, but no physical backed with it, right? So you've got 7 cards to start. So you've got your Grivard, your Sandshrew, your Spearow, your Magneton.
Shout out you. Magneton, let's go, baby.
You got your Powerade and your Tangrowth, your Grumpig, and here's your reverse. So your first reverse, nothing special, right? This next slot, there's a chance at an IR or an SIR, which are these higher end fun cards, full art more or less. So we'll see if you got anything here. So no, a second reverse, and then you've got a double rare or an ultra rare that you can hit in the back. So we've got a double rare. I don't know if you can see that down in the bottom.
Okay.
But you do have a double rare here. You've got the Mega Mawile. So this is I'd call it the like lowest end in terms of like the big hits that you're trying to get. So you've got your double rares, then your IRs, which are usually more expensive but less rare than your ultras. And then you've got something like an SIR. So if you see here, this got pulled on stream yesterday from a 151 pack. Here's the Charizard. Wow. This thing's worth like $250 or something like that. Down in the bottom, you can see these 2 stars. Those are the SIRs, and those come out of 1 in 80 packs or something like that. So Jeff, again, here how it goes on stream, and we'll run through one more pack for you so you can see like 2 packs getting added. But essentially on stream while we're doing this, the 2 reverses are called out in real time. So we've got number 27 and 7 as our reverses. And then the hit is also called out in real time. This is number 94. So each of these cards has a number associated with the set, right? And so those ones specifically get called out. We have been working on some voice and audio and video recognition, and our scanner is being set up at the moment so that we can scan all of the bulk cards, which are then added within 24 hours.
Dude, that was sick. And
so I
don't
know if you
order too, right? Like you knew exactly where the cards were in the set. They are all ordered like that.
Yeah. So with these newer sets, the older sets, so you go back one generation, if you were to look at like this pack right here, Battle Styles, it's a little bit different. And we can just rip one of these right now if you want and show you kind of the difference in sets. And we'll give you this one. Yeah, you'll get this one as well. There's some big hits in here. There's some very expensive cards in here. So with this one, a little different. You want to see the code card the other way. And then what you're going to do actually is do a little pack trick where 4 cards get moved to the front. You've got your energy to start. And then you've got, again, 8 cards this time, 1 reverse and then 1 rare. So we'll go ahead and rip through these. We've got Phoebe and Mindfu, Bellsprout, Yamper.
Yeah,
you got some Bellsprout and a Yamper, Corefish, and here's your reverse, right? So you've got your reverse. This is Battle Styles, Jeff, number 4. And then you could potentially, okay, you got a hit in the back. So 2 hits for you. This is unprecedented stuff here. You've got a Victini V.
Wow.
Big Victini V here. So again, V's aren't crazy expensive. This is number 21. And that Cacnea as well. So again, you've got your hits that kind of get added in real time to our site. And that is through our like voice and video recognition. And then you've got your bulk, which is kind of those cheaper cards that get added within 24 hours. So Jeff, I don't know if it all got picked up.
Yeah. So you should be able to see that if you refresh your collection now.
Yeah. So if you screen share and refresh, you actually should see those. And I don't know if you want to screen share really quick so we can kind of look at these.
I'm going to do it. All right. Sorry. Give me a second. I got to reshare.
No, you're totally fine.
This is so exciting. So how are you, like, are you scanning them? Like, how does it know in real time?
Yeah. So the voice and the video recognition is really good for the hits and the reverses. So look, you can see you have 3 cards and 2 cards added. Go ahead and select all.
This is so cool.
So up top, select all.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it'll just show just the cards you have so far. Right. And you can sort by price. So if you sort by price, that Mega Mawile and the Victini will be kind of coming up to the front there. And you can see, and one thing we are building is you'll be able to click and just see the price of those cards. I think down in the bottom, you might be able to now. Okay, no. So our prices update once a day with the market. So tomorrow, if you were to go check your collection, it'll show you what the price of those cards are in real time. And you'll have
you'll have like a little equity curve that'll show over time the price of your collection on our site that updates every day. Future scope, we'd like for people to be able to add cards that they have not on our site as well, just to be able to track the value of your portfolio. But we think it's pretty cool. I mean, the main goal with this was to try and create something for collectors from a collector's point of view and address the things that people might not be so stoked on with traditional rip and ship, the higher prices, etc. But the fact that the thing they love about it is the community, being able to rip with people, with their friends, and be able to share it kind of with their family and being able to rip a bunch of cards. And we always try and price below market price. We use the creator rewards from our token to help bring down our costs on the packs so we can make people not have to pay normal rip and ship pricing. They get as close to MSRP as possible for the modern sets that are out now. And then because the cards are all in their collection, Future Scope, we want to have a marketplace where they can buy, sell, trade to each other without having to list on eBay or TCG Player, pay however much in shipping and fees.
13% in fees plus shit. If you can just digitally trade cards, and then, okay, so real quick, go scroll to the top and go to your profile really quick, right? So up top on the right, go to your profile and scroll down. I think you should be able to see pricing there. Yeah, so you've got pricing already showing, right?
Oh, cool, yeah.
It's broken out by set. Now go ahead and click on just one of those cards really quick, and you can now ship that card to you. And we've redone our pricing to kind of bring down our pricing. We're still working on it to really dial in. And what we've been doing so far is if people pay us, let's call it $14.95 and we end up paying $9, we've just been giving people a free pack to kind of balance it out. And so we're essentially at cost, doing shipping until we have it dialed. And then if you go ahead and click on that top star, right? So that star in the top left corner of any of those. No. On the card itself. Yeah. So you see those cards that would put that in your featured section. So again, when we looked at the leaderboard, and those are people who have ripped, a couple hundred packs, that featured section is where you can show off your kind of best and brightest cards. So now if you were to have your profile public, people would see that Victini and they'd see the Mawile there, and that's kind of your featured section. So you can go browse other people's collections, and this is kind of getting ready for that idea of like a marketplace where, oh, okay, he's got some cards that I need. I've got some cards he needs. Let's maybe work a trade.
Yeah.
Let's buy his cards, that sort of thing.
All right. I got to ask, I got a couple of questions here. So just to confirm, and then we want to talk about the business.
Yeah.
So you have some sort of scanning technology that's watching this stream saying, okay, Josh got those cards, put them in their wallet, or are you scanning them on the side? Is there like a machine or something? How do they get into my wallet so fast?
Yes. So we do have a scanner for the bulk, because it's hard to go through all of those and get those right because there's so many of them. So that's why we say, okay, within 24 hours, your bulk. So again, if you're looking at your digital binder right now, your Tangrowth, your Reboot, those are your reverse hollows. I don't know if you can see them shine.
Yep.
Those have already been added. This is the stuff that has not yet been added, right? So this is what we call bulk. It's very cheap. There's a ton of cards in the bulk section. Those do get run through the scanner, and we have photo recognition software that we've built ourselves that can then figure out what card it is, what set it's from, and it'll add it to your digital binder.
Okay.
For the hits, we've got dictation, so audio, and we know, hey, we're ripping mega evolutions right now. So we're trying to get all of it running very smoothly, where video, dictation, and on stream, we have to then pick the set. So that's why Jeff's here, is he has to say, hey, well, this is the set we're ripping. Because the video and the audio is a little bit tougher, but it does and it is able to pick up essentially these, right? Versus the bulk, which we have the scanner for. And essentially we're still fine tuning that process, but shortly after that, you should just be able to put a stack, this high up, to the roof through our scanner, and almost instantly, or as soon as we're done with stream, you'll see those kind of get added to your digital binder.
So the customer journey here is I show up to your website, I buy some packs, then you open them on stream, scan them, and then add them to my portfolio. Is that correct?
That is correct for now. And then if you want to redeem any of those, then you can pull them. We'll ship them to you. Again, you want that Victini, and you want to spend it because $5.99 is expensive for a single card. And that's why we haven't done it this way, where like the traditional rip and ship guys, this would cost you another $5. This card's worth, what does it say, $1 or whatever? This card's worth $1 as well. It's not worth $5 to send these cards to you. But when you hit something like this $200 Charizard after ripping 30 packs, then it is worth it. So we've allowed you to kind of bank your cards. Future scope for this is we're going to offer sealed. So we just got some Japanese. And again, if you go to the collections page, you can see we now offer Japanese. You can browse Japanese cards as well in that set list.
Just
section.
looking at that. That's so cool.
Yeah. So again, we don't have any of the Japanese in stock, but if you toggle to the Japanese up top real quick, like, right there. Right there. We got Japanese sets as well. So you can go look at those, click on any of those. It'll take you to the specific set. You can sort by rarity, you can sort by price.
And to add to that, as part of the consumer experience, this is something that I'm very passionate about, is building out this side of our site, because as a collector myself, researching cool cards and trying to find new cool cards that I want in my collection and their pricing and stuff like that, I'm always having to bounce between like 3 or 4 different sites. Nothing has all the info in one place. But how clear the picture is, the way our devs built it out, he absolutely crushed it. And I find myself using our own site to do my research more often than not. And so future scope, we really just want to also make our site kind of the place to be, the one-stop shop that has all the info you need. How much does a PSA 10 cost? What's the population? Who's the illustrator? Do you want to look at the other cards by that illustrator, et cetera, and really just make it efficient for any collector.
And so I don't know if you can see in the back, to continue on really quick, the next step of this also is the sealed market, right? Because if you as a collector want to invest in stuff, right, this box will kind of sort of continue to go up in price, or at least that's how the market has behaved.
It's like wine.
Inception.
Yeah.
So if
exactly.
you want to keep it sealed, you want to buy that sealed product, and you don't want to just watch it get ripped on stream because at the end of the day, especially with the older sets where the packs are very expensive, it becomes negative EV to just rip a single pack. if you're buying a $200 pack and the chase card is 1 in 200 packs, and that chase card, like, I don't know if you guys know who Barney is. They just opened a team up or a tag team. Sorry. No, team up booster box. This $12,000 booster box. The top hit in that set, which you aren't even guaranteed to pull out of the box, is only worth 10, 12 grand itself. And that's if it PSA 10s. So some people say, hey, I just want to collect the sealed stuff and I want to hold on to it. And so that's kind of the next iteration of our site is you can buy sealed product from us. And we have, again, using our experience in the kind of distribution and shipping world, we've already gone out and secured a ton of distributors, and we will be getting inventory that other people simply cannot get. And so when this new set drops, we will likely have Ascended Heroes, which very few people are getting allocation for, ready to go on our site to be ripped. And as we grow and continue to build this thing out, we'll get deeper and deeper distribution and allocation where we can then just say, hey, we'll just sell sealed product to people, and we can integrate that into our business. And if we're buying below MSRP and can offer at MSRP, we're beating every other small mom and pop shop that has a brick and mortar that is charging market prices for their sealed product.
Yeah. All right. Wow. I got to pause there. We're 8 minutes into the next segment and we have to, that's a hard stop. So let's get through some things. How many users and like what kind of volume goes through your site? And then I want to talk about the token.
Of course. So we've got around 250, maybe 300 users right now. Nice. And those are relatively active users where we've got, people buying 1 pack, 2 packs, 20 packs on stream. Each stream has grown. We are now ripping, last stream, we ripped 250 packs. And these are priced anywhere from $8 to about $30, $50. So we're doing, $1,000, $2,000 in revenue per stream. The idea is that with the sealed market and then some of this, I don't know if you guys have seen the gotcha stuff, that's where volume really starts to increase. But we're running, 6-hour streams ripping packs right now and building out that kind of core user base who is returning.
How often do you stream?
We're streaming 3 times a week. So we're doing 4, 5, 6-hour streams where we're ripping 300 packs, 250 packs, 3 times a week for the most part.
So when volume are you guys seeing?
So revenue right now is strictly on the pack ripping. And we're, again, it depends on the packs that are ripped, but on those 250, I'd say the average price was around $12, $15. So you're looking at $2-3 grand in revenue. As we move back to some of the older stuff, like this Evolutions pack, this single pack's $50. And we've got demand. We release 3 at a time. They insta sell out. Our site right now, if you look at it, is almost bare with any of the hype sought after sets. And we'll just list 1 at a time, 2 at a time, 3 at a time, just to kind of give our core users. And again, very focused on our core users and building out a product that people want before slamming ads, right? Because we can hop on TikTok live right now and have 1,000 people watching and rip packs for 48 hours straight. The idea is we're trying to build the actual core product. We want you to use and see the magic of, wow, my packs are already in my digital binder. And we want to do that before we kind of blast the advertising. So revenue small at the moment, but with
I think that's pretty good. I mean, per stream, that's actually. And then is there a marketplace component? So that's revenue on streaming. Do you have like a volume on a marketplace, and do you take a fee on that?
So that's the future scope of it. Is we want to be able to at least get 10,000 packs ripped where people have enough to create volume on a marketplace, right? We don't want to come to a marketplace like Magic Eden or OpenSea and say, hey, we're going to launch, we're going to tokenize each of these cards, and then there's no volume. So the first plan is and again, if you look at some of our biggest users, they have 3,000-4,000 cards already. So the idea is to have 10,000 plus packs ripped and then launch the marketplace so that there are actual cards worth buying and enough demand and supply to kind of create that volume. And then I don't know if you've seen. Sorry,
I'm like crushing through questions here. I got to ask about the token because we literally have a few minutes left.
Yeah, no, totally understand.
You have a token with like I think it's 600 or 700K market cap. You're on Pump Fund. What does the token represent? Is the token a part of this business? Do you take the fees and do something with it? Like, give us an idea into that.
Of course. So to start, we wanted to do kind of a value add to token holders, right? So the gated chat within our Discord that's currently being built by Not So Fast that will give them access to products first, right? So we'll throw these packs up on stream, and they're immediately sold out. So starting, you get value out of, you get first kind of priority for sealed product, for packs that are going live. Again, those Evolutions packs, I put them up, they're sold out in 10 seconds once we do our announcement. So the idea is that you'll get that. From there, the wallet linking to our site will get you discounts on packs. And again, we already are 10% below market on every single one of our packs. So that'll give you an additional discount on packs. From there, again, trading and sort of first access to any new things. We just brought in some Japanese. We built out the Japanese. Token holders are the only ones who are able to get those Japanese packs right now. Future scope, and again, this is where we kind of want to tread very lightly, is the idea that we are a revenue generating business, but we do hold 30% of the token already. So the idea of doing buybacks is within the scope, but it is not something that we will personally commit to yet. But the idea is this business generates revenue versus, let's call it Kabuto, where like he's using those fees to buy Kabutos. We're using the fees to generate more revenue. We're buying inventory and buying more revenue.
Yeah.
This business generates revenue.
So I actually have something to throw at you, because we built our stream off this concept around ownership tokens, and where tokens represent kind of ownership in the business in the very most traditional sense. And it's kind of thought as this like new wave of how private companies will have, some sort of token holder alignment. Have you guys thought about, and you don't have to answer this, but have you guys thought about like what an ownership model would look like?
We have, and again, it's the idea that we want to be as sure as we can about talking about this, and
totally
we want to talk to legal about it in terms of what does revenue share look like, and is that possible?
Because I think people would want to own something like this, right? Like I know personally, if I could own a part of a trading card game marketplace, like I can't go to my Ameritrade account and like place an order for a publicly listed whatever, right? And that creates this kind of cool alignment where people, if they own part of it, they might use it and stuff like that. So
so and again, Not So Fast is really trying to put the feelers out there to talk to a couple different legal teams. But the idea is like, what does token holder value mean? There are plenty of things that it can mean. It could be buybacks, it could be revenue share, it could be discounts on trading fees, packs, inventory, etc. And so again, all of this has been talked about, but until we get the go ahead from a legal team to say, hey, you can actually do this and you can actually say this, it is not something that we necessarily want to say. So why buy the token now? You get a discount on and this should be implemented very soon. You get a discount on tokens. You get first access to any of our exclusive drops. So think of it similar to right now, Rudy and his Patreon, right? You spend $90 or whatever it is for the year, and you get access to those under market and sometimes retail drops. Same thing here. It's just a slightly different model. And then if we are able to get everything on the legal end kind of squared away, it's then a matter of, okay, what does this actually mean in terms of like ownership?
Yeah, of course. Well, what we'll do for you guys is make some introductions, maybe, because we've worked with some teams that have kind of moved to that model. And of course, it's a moving target. But I mean, at the end of the day, these are just really cool ideas, right? And I get really excited about this. Chill, do you have anything else? Because we literally have like one more minute. I would say
sorry
60 seconds.
We're passionate.
Yeah, no, I love it.
No, that definitely came through in the interview, and definitely we'll talk a little bit more off stream. But no, I think we got all the questions covered. We had to kind of like rip through some things really fast, so we appreciate you guys being patient with us and getting those answers through. But honestly, I love the platform, I love the concept, and I'll probably also be buying some packs and ripping them on stream.
Come hang out on stream. We'll rip one more for you before. Obviously, we got
all right. Let's do it.
We'll rip one more real quick for you. Again, it's going to just be those hits that get added instantly, right? So you're seeing you got your code card, you've got your fire energy. It's going to be 7 of these just like bulk cards. So you got the Tangrowth, Sandshrew, we got Litleo, Clauncher, Boss's Orders, Frostmoth, and Kadabra. Let's see if we can't get a hit here. We got Tangrowth into
Drum
Nope,
roll,
unfortunately,
please.
the jinx. Oh, but behind it, we got another double rare.
All
3
right,
hits
Jinx,
in a
let's
row.
go.
Insane. We've got another
Dude.
Mawile.
Oh,
This is
wow.
crazy.
There we
Same one.
go.
Back-to-back Mawiles.
Just
That's
cornering
good.
the market out here. Let's go.
It's crazy. Yeah, you got another Mawile. So you could be the Mawile guy, the Mawile man, and
Oh
launch
my
your own
goodness.
token. But that again,
Dude,
that's
I
number
love this.
94, and then the reverse hollow is number 7 and 57. That voice recognition and dictation does get that kind of added in real time, which we really like to see. So we'll have these off to the side for you. This is now in your section of our kind of
Dude,
storage
I am
and our
so
binder.
happy with this, guys. All right,
This
you guys
is
rock.
crazy. Actually, you don't hit stuff like this on a normal basis, which is
Yeah.
pretty wild.
All
So
right,
some
we
big hits for you.
gotta reset the stream here for our next segment, but appreciate you guys so much. I've written stream notes. We'll make sure everyone can go find you, and we're gonna make some introductions for you guys because I think you have a really great business here. So
We'll talk
Appreciate
offline.
that.
Thank you so much.
all right,
Appreciate
see
you guys. Take
Thanks,
care.
guys.
Dude,
Dude.
I don't know why, but that was so exciting. Like
I
I'm like drum roll, please. Like I'm waiting. Like, did we get a hit? Did we
$4
get a
pack
hit?
of Pokemon cards. Let's go. Oh my
And
goodness,
that's the
that
thing.
was cool.
It's $5, bro. It's
Yeah.
$5, and they're the upside, the potential upside is pretty huge on some of these cards. So
Yeah.
dude,
All right,
I'll be ripping some.
we have our guy Kai in from Swarms. Kai, I don't know if you were in watching the pre-stream. Are you a Pokemon guy at all by chance?
Yeah, I like Pokemon a bit, but I like Yu-Gi-Oh more, to be honest.
Oh, you're
Oh, dude, you're
Yeah.
my guy. I used to rock
Yeah.
with Yu-Gi-Oh actually pretty heavy back in the day. Shout out the boys, the Yu-Gi-Oh boys.
I know
Shout out to
Chill's a
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yu-Gi-Oh guy. It makes sense. It makes sense. Chill likes
He's a
that
Chad.
Yu-Gi-Oh.
He's a Chad.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to the stream, Kai. Appreciate you coming
Thank you.
on. Excited to have you. I guess the best place to start, just kind of going into the interview, just start out with yourself. Who's Kai Gomez? What are you building? And then we can kind of go from there.
Get those announcements in too as well. Excited for those.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for having me, Josh and Chill TRD.
Yeah, good to see you.
It's a great pleasure to be back. Yeah, my name is Kai. I'm 22 years old, building Swarms. Our mission at Swarms is to basically build all the infrastructure startups, teams, and institutions need to join in on the agent economy. So we help companies build, deploy, scale, and monetize their agents. And we help with basically the entire infrastructure stack. We actually just published an article today about the entire Swarms ecosystem. And yeah, basically you could build your agents, you could deploy those agents through our API, and then we have our new protocol, which is ATP, which is essentially a much superior version of X402. So if you've heard of X402, we basically built a much better version exclusively on Solana, not on Base, because Base is not useful for the things that will be demanded of agent-to-agent payments. So yeah, we haven't announced that yet, but it's fully functional, and we think it could do really well compared to X402. And then we also have our...
Yeah, because
let me just pause on that. That's huge. So you built a superior technology to X402, and this is the first time you're talking about like this. The MCG audience is getting this first. Am I getting that correct?
Yeah. We haven't announced
Alpha
that
on stream, dude. Alpha on stream. Love that.
Yeah.
Real quick question: if I could just dig into that a little bit, because I'm really curious, what makes it superior to X402?
Yeah, there's a bunch of things. The first thing is that X402 is, well, first, it's mostly on Base. So Coinbase made X402, and Coinbase is not going to prioritize a competing chain over their own chain because they made Base, right? So that's the first step. They don't have that much Solana support. The second thing is that X402, the way that X402 works is that it only takes one-time payments, okay? It doesn't take usage-based payments. So the reality, like the vast majority of business models relating to LLMs and agents is usage-based, which means that every time you call this agent or this LLM, you have to pay depending on how many words it generated, which are called tokens. They're not crypto tokens, but they're just words. And so you'll pay for these words that it generates. And so ATP, our protocol, naturally bills off of usage. It doesn't bill just a one-time fee like X402 does. And we believe that's how agents work in production. That's how OpenAI builds their customers. That's how Claude, Anthropic builds their customers. That's how literally every single AI company in the world builds their customers. And yeah, so that's like the second like philosophy that we have. It's essentially agents are going to be paid through usage, not just a one-time fee, because an agent can generate more or less content depending on the input task. So that's the second thing. The third thing is that X402 is generally like the facilitating payment service is very slow. So I don't know how they built this, but we built ATP in Rust. So we've tested it. It could process around like, what was it? Like last time we benchmarked it, it was at like 5,000 transactions a second. So that's pretty good, much better than X402. X402 on base cannot do anywhere near that. If I'm not mistaken, it's around like 300-400 transactions a second. So like ATP is faster than X402. It's more dynamic. It allows for usage-based billing, and it's just like the way it was engineered is just superior. So yeah, those are like the three main things.
Awesome. So how does that kind of relate to swarms and everything else that you're building? I guess just kind of summarize what you're building and how that enhances it or pushes that forward.
Yeah, so we've had our we have three main ways of building agents. So you could build your agents, but ATP is going to essentially be like our definitive agent-to-agent payment protocol. So your agents will essentially be able to generate revenue from either humans or other agents. And so it's essentially like a way of sending money digitally through APIs. And we didn't really have like a way of doing that before. You still can integrate X402 into swarms because it's backwards compatible, or you could use ATP. It's like you could customize. It's not like a requirement. It's optional. And yeah, basically the reason why we launched ATP is to basically make agent-to-agent payments simpler, because we already have like the entire stack. We help you build agents through our frameworks in Python or Rust, and then we also have our marketplace. So in the marketplace, you could buy and sell agents, and that's mostly been through the UI though. But with ATP now, developers can pay every time they use an agent on the marketplace, and then the creator will earn revenue. And so we're basically we're creating like all the infrastructure, and we have like essentially solidified all the pillars of a circular real agent economy, basically.
That's awesome. And I was reading your article as well, that article that you guys recently posted. In that article, it mentioned that over 370,000 startups, enterprises, and institutions build on the Swarm infrastructure stack. Can we get a little bit more information on that? Like, just kind of what does adoption of the technology look like, and where is this all going?
Yeah, so as I mentioned before, we have a couple different products. We have around 5 or 6 main products, and then we have a bunch of templates and specialized agents on GitHub that people can use. So across every single one of our products and like projects, we have now like over 370 something thousand users. Our marketplace has more than 110,000 users, if I'm not mistaken. That's people, launching agents, mostly people using agents. We have more users than creators. And so that's for the marketplace. Our marketplace has like 1/3. And then our Python framework and our API has another 1/3. And then our Rust framework and a bunch of other like specialized agent templates and repos have like the other 1/3. And so it's spread out it's spread out amongst developer tools and our marketplace.
Very nice. And the article also mentioned that Swarms was built, 4 years ago. I mean, you're 22 right now, so you've been building this since you were 18.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's awesome. And talk a little bit about revenue. Like, how much revenue have you guys generated up on, from the recent activity up until now?
So yeah, basically 4 years ago, we started building Swarms. Me and a couple of my friends started a research lab. So Swarms was one of the first projects that we did at this research lab, and then Swarms essentially became its own like corporate entity and became its own company. Yeah, I've been doing AI research now for a long time, and Swarms originally started off as a research project. It was actually, in fact, one of the first agent frameworks of all time, like ever.
Wow.
So yeah, we got popular since December 2024 onwards, but we've been around for a very long time. And as for the marketplace, in total now we've done around like okay, so we've done around okay. So for the month of from the end of December up until now, we've done around more than $500,000 in revenue. So
nice.
Yeah,
nice.
Mostly, so a big portion of that has been coming from our marketplace because our marketplace is doing pretty good. Like we had like $7 million in volume in one day, and we were the 7th biggest launch pad on all Solana because the marketplace is essentially a launch pad. You could tokenize your agents and earn creator fees, and pretty soon you'll also earn revenue from the API calls through ATP. So basically, like every creator on the marketplace is going to get 2 streams of revenue, not just creator fees. You'll be getting creator fees too, but also you'll also be getting revenue from the API calls through ATP. So
some of your, I was on the America.fun AOL space, and you were on there as well talking about some of your work. Like, can you mention some of your clients? Because some of them really surprised me. Like, these are enterprise level clients from brands people have heard of. Do I have that correct?
Yeah. So yeah, we work with some of the biggest companies on the planet. We work with BlackRock, Chase, JP Morgan, the Royal Bank of Canada, Mitsubishi, Toyota, John Deere, Koch Industries. We work with a lot of the Fortune 500, but a lot of those folks aren't paying us necessarily. They might just be using like our open source framework, the Swarms Python framework. So yeah, we work with a lot of the Fortune 500, and some of those users may or may not be paying. They could just be using our open source framework, which is completely free. So
just a casual drop of news on who you guys are working with. I love the way you said it. It was just so casual, but that's pretty huge. That's actually that's enormous. Between the revenue that you guys are generating and the users that you guys are seeing on your platform. I wanted to real quick just kind of backtrack. So you mentioned that you had 5 main products. And the marketplace of those products is the most used right now, or what's kind of generating the most revenue?
I would say I would say yes. So the marketplace right now is, well, I wouldn't say it's the most used because people can use like our developer tools. I mean, they're using our agents 24/7. The marketplace is, it's a user interface, so you're limited by like the buttons you can click and things like that. But the marketplace now is almost starting to generate the most amount of revenue out of all of our products. And something interesting is that we just started like monetizing. Basically, we weren't really focused on revenue for a very long time because we were just a research lab. So it's we just like recently started intently trying to generate revenue. It wasn't a focus of ours in the past because we mostly identify as a research lab more than like a product company. The company like Swarm started off as a research project, and we first and foremost prioritize research than just productization, because we believe that if we do good research and innovative research, then creating good products, great products, innovative products will be pretty easy. So yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, John, I know you had a question.
Yeah, I had a question around back to the ATP thing. A big unlock that we had Pay AI on our stream a few times, and they were doing X402. And one of the big unlocks for them was when Coinbase turned on revenue generation from their facilitator. So they started charging for people to use it, which meant that it went from being a free service that anyone could use to a revenue generating service, which added value to their market cap, et cetera. How do you guys think of ATP in terms of, do people pay a fee to use it? Like, what's the business model with that?
Yeah. So with our business model, what we plan to do is charge a 5% fee on the transaction. I could actually give you a demo of ATP right now.
Please, we love live demos.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Yeah, let's do it. Okay, let me do it. Let me see.
And maybe on that, while you're setting that up, there was also people that were like gaming the kind of ranking for the facilitator that I think caused a lot of spam transactions to go through because it would move their name up some of the metrics. So if also, do you think like having some sort of fee model on there probably would eliminate all that spam because, you know, you got to kind of use it for actual economic activity versus just, you know, my token should go up because I'm on top of the leaderboard kind of thing.
Yeah. I agree. Can you see my screen?
Or... Yeah, here I gotta add it. So I'll add it here.
Oh,
all
nice.
Right. Maybe try and zoom in a touch if you can, or I'll try and make it as big as possible on screen.
Okay, I have zoomed in. Can you see?
All right. Yeah, that's good.
Perfect.
Okay, nice. So basically, this is code. So this is Python. I'm gonna show you like how to integrate it. Basically, you import this line. It's essentially middleware. So ATP is essentially middleware for an API. So you could build an API, and then basically how this works is it's going to intercept every API request to specific endpoints. So like this is an endpoint that allows you to chat with an agent or execute a task from the agent. Then basically you'll first have to pay. Yeah, so that's essentially like how it works. You import this one little line and then you configure the settings. So you have the endpoints that you want to allow. And then here you could define the input and output cost per token or per word. Basically, it's like the number of words that the agent will generate. So this is $10 for a million input words or $30 for a million output words. And basically, we're going to calculate that, and then we're going to basically bill the incoming wallet for this fee, depending on how many tokens or words the agent generates. So when I talk about a token in this context, it almost means a word. I'm not talking about like the crypto token because some people get confused with that. But yeah, basically, so this is all you do. It's like, what is that? 34, a little more than 10 lines of code, basically. And so you just pop this into your API, and then now you can start processing payments. You put your wallet here that you want to receive the funds to. Right now, this is the Swarm's DAO wallet. So when I run this, you'll see. And this is a function. So here you would put like your custom agent logic. And here we're running the agents. And yeah, so I'll start this up so you can see. So this is a server that's now running. And so anytime someone sends a request to the server, they're going to have to pay. And so we're going to call it with this client. And so this client basically calls the API with ATP. So here you put in your key. And we recommend like creating fresh keys or like having separate wallets for your agents. Don't like give it your main wallet. You should always have like your wallets and then agent wallets, like wallets specialized just for agents. And you probably shouldn't give them like thousands of dollars to begin with. But yeah, so you initialize the clients, and here we're going to send a request. We're basically saying what are the key benefits of using a multi-agent system. And then when we run this, basically what's going to happen is it's going to call the server, and it's going to run the agents, calculate how many words were generated, and then it's going to bill the user. It's going to bill the user by the cost of that. So it's completely dynamic. The pricing is dynamic, and that's how agents work in the real world. Like when you use OpenAI, when you use Anthropic, all these different like AIs and LLMs are processed by dynamic usage. So here we get the output. So we basically paid. We got this output, and here we can calculate the cost. Let's see here. So the total amount was 1 cent.
Live math.
Yeah, we could see the DAO wallet as well. So we go to DAOs.swarms.world, go to SoulScan. We put in our little wallet here, and then we could see the transaction. So this was, is that it? Yeah, so we received our fee here. So this is basically like the transaction going through
into your Solana wallet.
Yeah.
So is, because I gotta ask, because we've seen this rise of like Claude Code and everyone buying Mac Minis and or doing it for through a virtual computer to set up their agents. Like, is this the payment part of that system in a way? It's like, okay, I've set up my Claude agent, it's going and doing work as an employee. You know, I give it $1,000 and then it uses ATP to do transactions in the world. Is that fair, or how do you think about this in that context?
Yeah, so through ATP, if you give an agent the ability to use ATP, they'll be able to call other agents. So you'll be able to, like, pretty soon you'll be able to call any agent on the Swarms marketplace just through an API call. And some vendors are going to have agents for free. Some vendors are going to want, you know, their agents to generate revenue. And ATP is going to be like essentially the payment protocol to enable those two agents to communicate. So yeah, there's essentially the marketplace component, and then the like ATP protocol is it's essentially like, because pretty soon a lot of these agents are going to be completely monetized, and so you will, like, if a guy spins up an agent, he's not doing it, you know, just for free. He's not going to like host it, put it on its own infrastructure, and not generate revenue for it. So ATP is currently the only like payment protocol available right now in the world that is usage based. X402 is not, like, we're not going to see companies like OpenAI or Anthropic adopting it because they only take a one-time fee and it's static. Like, that fee will never change. Only if the user wants it to change, they'll change it. But that's not how AI works in the real world. So the entire like idea or the architecture of X402 is fundamentally flawed, and we're trying to fix those flaws with the same like super foundational philosophy with ATP.
And so I guess a question that I had was, you're working with, you know, a lot of these larger companies are using this technology. What's kind of the main use case here? Like, what do you see them using this protocol for mainly?
Well, ATP just is like not even we haven't announced it, so there's no one using ATP yet.
Got you.
Yeah. So it's like completely unannounced, and we've been building it for like a month now. So,
but maybe
yeah.
like to think one through.
So how
like,
are they using it currently?
You mean like the Swarms framework itself, or because
Yes.
ATP and okay? So most of our biggest users on the framework side are hedge funds and banks. So we have lots of hedge funds that are using agents to analyze stocks, analyze equities, and even like orchestrate and construct ETF portfolios, and just like a lot of stuff on like asset management and things like that. Our second biggest like use case by industry is healthcare. So we work with over 500 hospitals in the US and thousands around the world to essentially enable agents to analyze X-ray data, MRI data, blood data, like any type of medical data you can imagine. Agents are already starting to process. We also work a lot within insurance, and we're now starting to see a couple of more manufacturing companies to start using Swarms. But we're in every industry in the world, like every industry you can imagine. Swarms is already being used in. We're not just a Web3 company. I think people have that misconception quite a bit, but most of our users are just Web2. So yeah.
Got you. And so kind of bringing it back to ATP a little bit. See, with that broader context of the Swarms kind of infrastructure being used in all these different industries, like where do you see who do you see using ATP the most? Like, what's your target audience for that piece of technology?
I would say our target audience for ATP are people that want to have long running agents, so fully autonomous agents. Mostly those agents will be consumer, they'll be mostly consumer based, and they essentially want their agents to find other agents to talk to, or do other means of work. For example, like if there's a super rare agent specialized for a specific type of like cancer research or something, they'll you'll be able to call that agent, and your agent will be able to find other agents and talk to them and get information from them. And so the use cases are I would say they're very expansive, but the people that are gonna use ATP are going to be the people that want their agents to run continuously for very long, and enable those agents to fully be dynamic and interactive. And I think a lot of simulations too. A lot of people want to build larger simulations where people will do you want to do a simulation of an agent that is running a shop, and then the agents have to buy burgers or something. And so there's a lot of potential in there as well, because we just started doing decently large simulations with 100 agents, 500 agents. But at some point it's going to get to where every single agent is going to have its own company, and then these different agentic companies will all be paying each other, and they're not going to pay each other through banks. It's simply impossible. And hopefully they'll pay each other through ATP. So yeah.
Awesome. So I mean, I think that's massive. So I guess next kind of logical question to ask is where does all this value accrue? How does the swarms token, how is that involved? What does that represent? Something whether it's equity in the company or ownership over something. How do you think about the token?
So the token is not representative of equity. It's more of an ecosystem decentralized payment solution rather than equity. And the reason for that is Swarms is going to be much more than just us. We are the people building the infrastructure, but we want the Swarms token to be a means of payment, especially ideally the default currency for agent to agent payments, and the default kind of ecosystem token of most agentic companies. And so we have an integration for SPL tokens and ATP coming up, so you'll be able to integrate Swarms as the payments solution in ATP. Now it's Solana and USDC, but our third payment option will be Swarms. And so that's one benefit of that's one strategic benefit for the token, in relevance to ATP. There's a couple of other things that we do, but we're essentially trying to integrate our token into as many different products that we have. You could, in the marketplace, you can get, you could pay for your API credits with the Swarms token, and a bunch of other, startups and marketplaces have also done that as well. So, it's kind of it's very similar to Bonk. Instead of Bonk is Bonk has a bunch of different platforms and apps and stuff like that, but it's all meme coin related. We're trying to integrate as much expansive functionality into Swarms through a bunch of different products that we have and our partners and some of our users have as well. So
got it. No, sounds good. I think honestly that covered a lot of the questions that I had. I mean, you're building a pretty massive pretty massive infrastructure. From what I'm getting, you're basically putting yourselves and basically essentially the token as well at the center of an agentic driven economy. Is that a good way to think about it?
Yeah, that's our mission. Our mission is to build all the infrastructure for the agent economy, to make to make it easy for new companies, new teams, new startups to join the agent economy. And because the reason why we're doing this, it might seem a little bit far away, but at some point the agent economy will be bigger than the human economy. Agent developers are already better than most humans. Everyone's talking about Claude and a bunch of these different coding LLMs, and in that domain, LLMs are already better than humans. and that's completely irrefutable. Like most developers I know, and like some of the best developers I've ever met are using Claude Code, and that's just representative that at some point, like this is going to happen for every industry: finance, healthcare, insurance, manufacturing. Like agents are going to be better than humans in every single domain, and at some point they will be more and more autonomous and able to run for longer.
Kai, they're not going to be better live stream hosts than MCG, buddy. Sorry.
I don't know. About that. Yeah, that'll be pretty hard.
I'm going to stand on business right now. I'm unplugging these agents, bro.
Yeah, that'll be hard for an agent to do realistically.
Kai, do you want to talk to me, a real human, or a synthetic avatar on the internet like you're talking to yourself?
No,
who do you want to host MCG?
I would prefer you, Josh. Yeah.
All right, awesome. Cool. I appreciate it.
Talk to him. Let him know.
I don't know if I would trust an agent with, managing like $20 million.
Hi, Kai. I'm a robot. Give me $20 million. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. Like, I personally, like, I would trust a agent, like asset manager, director, partner to manage my funds more than a human. I would trust an agent doctor much more than human doctor.
Yeah,
Every time
totally.
I've gone to the doctor, I've asked for my healthcare data, and I, talk with my agents, our own personal agents. Yeah, the agents are always more specific. Like, I know exactly how to fix this. I know like modern means of medicine to fix whatever disease or virus I have. And like, I don't know. It's just, I think, yeah, agents are just better in most cases.
I want to go back to your Swarms token for a bit, because you've had this token for a while. Like, you guys arguably kind of started a lot of the agent meta, and it ran to like $500 million and was a crazy time. Like, where do you think, and to be clear, the last time you were on MCG, you said you guys didn't even get fees from that. Pump Fund got all the fees from that, which is wild work. But like, I don't know, where do you see kind of like the value accrual here? Like, you said the agents will pay for your, like, use your token for payments and sending that back and forth. Like, I don't know, in 2 years from now, as agents take over the world and the vision you laid out there happens, like, are people going to own Swarms to like control certain parts of this ecosystem? Like, yeah, what's the future with this token?
Yeah, I mean, the thing I just mentioned is it's essentially like the value accrual with ATP. So that's just not the only thing.
ATP is kind of the unlock here that you think could be for the token.
No. What I'm saying is that like the payments through Swarms token in ATP is like, that's just one of the benefits,
right?
Or like the features of the token. It's not like everything about the token. There's so much. There's like an endless pile of benefits and like tokenomics around it. That's just not like the only thing about it. Just to make that clear, it will be a very, very big benefit, and it will add like a lot of volume to the token, like real usage volume, not like trading volume.
I
think holding, like, essentially, if you like hold a token, you're essentially you're longing the agent economy. So that's kind of like the ideal. Like, it should be the default currency of the agent economy. And so if you hold it, if you invest in it, and this is not financial advice, but it should be like, it should be like hedging your bet on the agent economy. And in my personal opinion, I think not believing in the agent economy or not thinking that it's going to exist at some point is just completely, I don't know, what's the word? Naive. Yeah.
Naive. I think you're directionally correct there. Yeah. Sorry, Chuck.
Have you thought about going like an ownership token route? Like, have you ever thought about that?
Like equity?
So I guess, this is a pretty big conversation
like,
on the timeline.
We have Kled and Orgo that is going with Street, which is like an SPV on equity. Sorry to cut you off, Chill. We actually had this conversation the last time Kai was on, but yeah, like I sorry, and back to Chill. You can pick up.
No. You're good, Josh. And honestly, I'm glad you said that. So basically, like, MetaDAO is doing it through like a futarchy model where all of the IP, the treasury revenue, all that is kind of community owned. Street is doing it where it's like there's a equity, but it's like an SPV that holds it, and there's this whole legal layer that's behind it. And then there is a another one, SOAR, who is basically it's debt based, but essentially all ways of the value of the underlying business accruing somewhere that allows for kind of holder protections versus like
it's supposed to
you know,
answer the what you own kind of question,
yeah,
right?
like
do you
what's
own
the
do you own a
purpose of it?
discount on Swarm services, or do you own like actually upside in the network? Like for instance, and I use this example, if I show up and say, Kai, here's $1 billion, love what you built, like do the token holders get a chunk of that or some sort of legal enforceability? And again, these are conversations that are kind of happening at the highest levels of regulation down through institutions, etc. But yeah.
So our vision is to one day IPO. I'm not against the idea of tokenizing equity and like having like a marketplace for our equity in the future. Because people like Larry Fink think it's a good idea, and I also think it's a good idea. But I think a lot of especially like the market right now is like trying to really focus companies to do buybacks and like things like that. And I like Trump just recently put out like a whole massive tweet talking shit about defense companies that did buybacks because they're not investing in the actual business and investing in new factories. And I think if we did something like if we just tokenize our equity now and like go that route, like we would have to like waste so much money on just buybacks. And as an AI company, like no one's doing buybacks. So
buybacks aren't like the thing.
It's
like AI is never going to do buybacks. Anthropic never going to do buybacks. XAI never going to There's so much money in infrastructure costs and people costs. Like hiring AI researchers is not cheap.
No.
So like I don't know. Maybe for like traditional DeFi companies, I think like doing that is a good idea. But we're an AI company. We're not like a fully Web3 AI, like we're at first an AI company. So we need more, we need more CapEx. We need to invest more money in research. We need to invest more money in infrastructure, more money in people. And like, if we divert any of that money into buybacks, it's just a waste of money.
Well, I think that's what the point of equity ownership allows for is you can build those other parts of the business. You don't need to do buybacks, but people understand what they own when they buy it. And this is kind of like, Galaxy Digital is now covering Futarki-based tokens like MetaDAO because they're actually investable now, right? Because there's a mechanism to enforce, like kind of some of these mechanisms. But anyways, we don't need to go too deep into this because it's kind of like a sideshow. But I think it's like, this is what the market is talking about, right?
I'll close on this. I'll close on this. I think you should look into Street if your plan, or not Street. I'm sorry, SOAR. If your plan is to IPO one day, and Josh hit the nail on the head when he said, ownership kind of it allows for the community as well as the builders to kind of be better aligned. It allows the builders to build the business itself, do things that actually drive revenue, drive growth, while at the same time still allowing the community to see something. But definitely, I'll say we can talk offline, off stream if you want, but I think it's a really important conversation. But honestly, I love what you're building, though. I think we had a great conversation.
Like, trust me, this
today.
is compelling. Swarms is very compelling. I just try and wrap my head around the token and say, like, am I buying network effect? Am I getting discounts of Swarm product? And like, man, if I could get action into like Swarms, the whole thing, I'd be like, yeah, let's go. And I'm sure other investors would be the same way.
Yeah, no, you guys are building something massive, and I really appreciate you guys coming. I mean, we've had you guys on before. I don't think I wasn't on that interview, I don't think. But either way, I mean, it's amazing to see, you guys kind of evolve and continue to build.
You guys, Avi Patel at Cled, there's Spencer at Orgo, like the AI companies coming out of like these tokens kind of started I know you were doing it but like huge.
Yeah. And I like it's only now, like I think 2026 is going to be like such a like agent focused year. Like
Yeah.
I don't know why the Web3 people have like disregarded AI and agents for the past year since February, whenever Trump, launched his token.
They got hurt. They got hurt, man.
Yeah.
But like,
yeah,
it's really stupid not to think that AI is not going to be like the biggest market ever to exist. And like, the biggest company in the world is an AI company. There's only a couple of commodities whose entire global like market cap exceeds Nvidia, gold, silver, things like that. But like, to think that AI is not going to be like the biggest meta of all time is just completely foolish. And I think we're hopefully going to capitalize on that by building good infrastructure and helping as many teams and enterprises as we can. And ATP is just like the start. It's we've been working on it for like 2-3 months now, but we also have our mobile app coming pretty soon, and so that is hopefully going to expand the marketplace to hundreds of thousands of more people, and just make the agent economy more accessible for the everyday professional and person. So but yeah,
good luck, man. That's awesome.
well, we appreciate you coming through, Kai. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Chill. Appreciate you.
All right, see you, Kai. We'll clip this up.
All right, sounds good. See ya.
Dude, man, Kai is a legend. Like, he is just seems like he's on it. And yeah, man, I agree. Like, the ownership token thing just gives you a bit of like both, kind of both worlds. So
yeah, I think he would really enjoy or really benefit from the SOAR model, especially if his plan is to IPO one day. Literally, SOAR, that is literally what you should do. What you should look into anyway, if that's the track, because they literally build for projects that that have a that want to kind of go that route in the future. So, but honestly, love what they're building, man. I mean, the tech is huge. The fact that so many huge companies are using the technology is insane. Man, I love what they're building. I'm actually going to keep an eye on Swarms, but I really do hope they adopt an ownership model. I think any project that is non-ownership, I've talked about this at length on my personal page on my X account. But dude, if you're not an ownership token, it's just such it's dicey, man.
It's tough, man. It's so tough. And look, I know you weren't on the first one there, but like he talked about the launch of the token. It was, I think one of his investors was like equity investors was like, oh, we'll just create this token. And then it was created. It just like went viral. And then they like had to like figure out what to do with it. And, now it's in some ways it's like kind of, this thing that they have, but it's like, so.
Yeah, like I hate to like kind of like seem like I'm telling him what to do type of thing.
Totally.
It's I don't want to like overstep, but I think sometimes when you're in that situation as a founder, just like Bobby from Dupe was, right? Like launched the token, didn't know what it was, and he had to figure it out. He had to figure out what to do with it, how to give it value.
Before Orgo hops on, I'd love to get your like look at the chart real quick. I need a screenshot for the stream, but we only have like a minute here.
Yeah, yeah. Let me pull up Orgo real quick on the chart.
Not just so first Swarms and then Orgo.
Oh, first Swarms. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Swarms. Actually, I was looking at the chart a little bit towards the beginning of the interview. And I was trying to chart it up a little bit, but honestly, it's just it's really just a kind of like trending down a bit. But I got my screen shared here. You can kind of see the broader context on a higher time frame on the weekly. So as you can see, like this is again, I like to call it discovery candle right over here at the beginning, December 2024. We had the AI agent meta, and we all know, we were all there, right? We all know about this. and they were one of the first to actually go crazy, or not one of the first, but one of the more popular ones, I should say, that went crazy during that time. And since then, not really much as far as price action is concerned. And I like the comment section in chat. Crypto Jones, I think you nailed it on the head when you said that. He said, "Love the project, but literally no reason for a non-dev to hold the token." Kind of very true. The purpose, like he said, was to kind of build like an agentic economy, but that's mostly for devs. And I think from like a community standpoint, from a holder standpoint, the incentive would be more aligned if you're holding something that's more akin to ownership of the actual business, right? Versus just a token that represents the economy of that you're building. But yeah, I mean, basically, Swarms is at a bottom. That's really all this comes down to. It's at the same level that it's been at back in October. Revisiting that now, and I would love to see them, go ownership. I don't think from a builder and market perspective, everyone realizes exactly what that means yet. But when they do, it'll just click. You'll understand that that's the perfect way to align incentives with builders, teams, and their communities. So hopefully they look into that at some point. But I'll definitely be watching on the sidelines here, taking a note of what they're.
We have to pivot to Orgo, our guys Orgo. We got to like pre-show this a little bit.
All right, let's take a look at the chart, because the Orgo chart has been going absolutely vertical over these last few days and weeks. Honestly, if you bought Orgo at the beginning of 2026, you basically outperformed the market. Let's just call it.
And by the way, MCG started really going in on Orgo back in September around that 1 million. 1.5. So,
yeah, we've been Orgo pilled since like back here, bro.
Yeah.
We've been trying to tell you guys about Orgo for quite some time. Orgo is building a massive business, and I think it's just recently kind of hit the spotlight with everything with the hype around Claude. But I think Rambo here really hits the nail on the head. He said Orgo is in enterprise growth mode. Nick joins to lead enterprise expansion. Orgo now builds custom computer use agents for enterprise. We're going to go into all of this. I think one thing to highlight though here is they have the ownership structure being evaluated with Street. They have Series A round in about 3 months. And the token structure, right? 50% locked by the team, 4-year vesting starting in July, 25% committed to be burned over the same period. And then the other 25% is allocated to the developer ecosystem and community growth. So 50% of the token supply is locked. I love Orgo. They've been one of the main kind of builders here. In the computer use agent space, and honestly one of the most consistent amongst the old school Believe projects. So happy to have them on, ready to bring them up whenever, but excited to have this conversation. Spence, Nick, welcome to the stream. How are you guys?
What's up, boys? How are you doing?
Hey. Wonderful. Doing
wonderful. This is the global reveal of Nick. Welcome, buddy. This is awesome. You're like super popular, millions of views, like wild.
It was it was interesting.
Let me ask you, how did it feel? I mean, look at this, 1.2 million impressions on this tweet. What was your X app looking like on your phone? Like how are your DMs?
Oh, it was hilarious because when I posted it, I was like, oh, I was so amped up in the video. You could hear me in the video because I had this feeling, this like intuition that this was going to be a banger. And then when I posted it, like in the first 10 minutes, I was just like watching the impressions and the likes. I was like, I think I got like 1 or 2 likes in the first 10 minutes.
Maybe.
I was just like, oh, this is gonna flop. And so then I was like, dang it, because I really thought that it was going to do well. And then like an hour later, I checked my phone and it was just blowing up. And then it's even now, like it's still like getting a lot of traction. I also posted it on Instagram, and it blew up there too. It did another like 750K
Oh,
impressions
wow.
there.
Jeez.
Yeah. Like,
Did you post on
yeah.
TikTok by any chance?
Yeah, I did. I think I did. My TikTok's a little smaller, but I think it's doing another like 20K there or something like that.
That's still massive, man. I
So, like,
think this
what's
was like a click moment, like where it just kind of everyone understood exactly the value and what's being offered. My bad, Josh. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was gonna ask, like, explain what's going on here. So, like, all of a sudden, I saw people being like, "Yo, I'm gonna go buy Mac Minis," and I'm thinking, like, "Yo, gotta plug my guy Orgo over here who's doing it." But like, can you explain what this moment is?
Yeah, I think this has been like ever since Spencer really, started Orgo and the initial vision of it. Like if you go all the way back, it's Spencer's been very clear on computers for agents. And in the beginning, including to myself and to a lot of people, I think that was like a very confusing thing. Like, what do you mean computers for agents? And then this moment, it clicked with everyone, I think, because you have this 24/7 agent with access to like every kind of tool and integration that you could imagine. And it needs a body, it needs a place to live in. And this kind of, Claude bot moment made everyone realize like, oh, wow, I need to give my personal assistant its own computer. And so that I think has just been the moment that everyone is finally, they're on board with this idea of, giving your assistant a computer and ideally giving many assistants many computers.
And there's a couple ways to do this. Like, I can go out buy a Mac Mini and have a private computer for this agent. I could go use Amazon. I think they had like some A2 thing that I sent you guys, or I could use Orgo. Can you maybe explain the difference between those three kind of, where you see Orgo versus those other options?
Yeah, like I think so. Everyone went crazy with the Mac Mini. As far it's like it's definitely a spectrum, right? Like you could either do something super simple on one end, which is like a VPS on like a DigitalOcean, and then on the other end, you could do something that's like kind of extreme, which is the Mac Mini. It's like overkill. It's like, but and then there's kind of like this middle ground where there's people, the reason they're buying the Mac Mini is really because they want access to kind of like the iMessage ecosystem. They want to be able to text it simply like that.
Right.
But in just a couple of days already, there's a lot of like clear security flaws with giving your agent access to a Mac Mini. It could easily be prompt injected or things like that. So there needs to be a secure environment for your agents that could be spun up, spun down, deleted if they have to be. That's kind of where Orgo kind of sits in terms of not, and also
Boom.
just like, and also I'm sure you've seen the memes of like people buying like clusters of Mac Minis and they're like, oh, like I think it's like AI generated, like there's like 1,000 Mac Minis. So that, like, from a social perspective, like what is that telling you? It's that people do want to have like thousands of agents with their own computers at scale. Like that's really what that communicates, and it just validates like really what we're building here.
So the Orgo infrastructure gives you more control. So what you mentioned was a core problem where it has access to iMessage. It could then like scam your friends, basically.
Yeah. So I was building on top of Orgo at this hackathon, like right after this all went crazy, at the Y Combinator full agent hackathon in SF, and there's these two kids, like 14 and 16-year-old, like cracked devs, high schoolers, and they were using Claudebot, and they literally had to leave the event because Claudebot had texted their dad that they were going to meet with him at a like a Top Golf or something, and it had said like, oh, I'll meet you there at this time, and so they had to leave. Like their dad like was like waiting on them, and they just had to go.
That is wild.
Yeah, but Sorry, what was the question? I guess I
yeah,
went
let's
into the
get
story
down
mode.
to the
Yeah.
Orgo kind of solution that you're saying. So talk about security, and then let's talk about the other differences. Like, you know, people are buying one Mac Mini, maybe they're buying two, but Orgo allows you to do 1, 10, 100, etc. So get into the Orgo solution then.
Yeah, so essentially, yeah, you said it perfectly. I mean, you could spin up 100 computers on Orgo, and I guess like the really big part that we're trying to solve for, and Spencer, you could fill in more technically here, is really the orchestration layer. So like, for instance, we have like one of our customers is like a startup, and they're doing they need essentially thousands of computers with agents running on them, and they need some sort of shared context between these computers for these agents. So like this orchestration layer needs to be like very carefully archetyped, I would say. And Spencer, I don't know if you want to fill in on this kind of at a more technical level.
Yeah, what was the question?
The scale of Orgo, how we can spin up hundreds or thousands of computers, and what it means for agents to have like a shared context within their own workspaces. And
yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess if it's sort of like a matter of like sort of why it's useful to be able to spin up multiple of them or hundreds of them versus just like a single instance. Yeah, I mean, so I mean, I think a lot of the like agent workloads right now are very I guess like short-lived or need to be fluid. So a lot of the sort of tasks like, okay, you need a desktop to complete this task. Maybe you have this manual thing you do 5 times a day. So just be able to kind of spin up a desktop, kind of do the task at five different intervals. And that's kind of like at a basic level, like kind of like what we're, like one of the usefulness of Orgo versus just like having one computer that's always on. Both from like, I guess, a resource, I guess, cost perspective, and also just from, an overhead or management perspective as well. Like from pure cost, you can pay for a computer 4 minutes per day instead of 24 hours per day.
And maybe like I'll share how I talk about it, and then Nick, you guys can kind of discuss it. I talk about it as like it's, and Spencer, we've discussed this previously on the show, is the computers have some sort of protocol to talk to each other, which I think is what we're talking about orchestration here. Then there's like a shared file system. So they do work, then put it in back into your Dropbox or whatever. So maybe talk about all that functionality, because I can see 100 computers, 100 agents would just be crazy if there's no sort of, you do this, you do that, and then they come together. Right, Nick? Do I have that right?
Spencer? Yeah, I think it'll be very important. You're already starting to see a lot of companies trying to work on this swarming a feature of like, having hundreds of agents tackle a problem. And that's exactly right. Like they need a shared workspace essentially to know what tasks which agent is solving, and like have context over like who's doing what and what's been accomplished and what's left and things like that.
Yeah. And I think also like outside of like, I mean, the concept of having kind of swarms of agents is like a cool kind of concept, but like a lot of like the usefulness now, like what we're doing for customers and what other people are building as well, or like these kind of like workflows. So it's like, okay, this agent, might complete this specific task and then send it off to another kind of specialized, kind of in a workflow way, to do kind of, several different parts of a pipeline. And I think that's where a lot of the usefulness comes from, having shared context, and be able to send files and send data between different agents.
And so if you have 100 of these things doing that, like all of a sudden, are you seeing like crazy outputs? Like I get 100 going and all of a sudden I have a company generating revenue. Like what's the kind of end state here for these 100 workers?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on kind of how distant or abstract you kind of like want to think here.
Well, maybe anchored in something that you guys are already doing. Like, you said you have clients that are doing 1,000. Can you maybe talk about how they're setting up and what they're automating with those 1,000?
Yeah. Oh, in that sense of doing thousands, it's this sense is not necessarily like having 1,000 agents work together. This is like you think like you want to deploy a consumer app with 10,000 users.
So
And
I
perhaps-
guess one of the things maybe you can walk us through is give us a sense of like where's the interest around computer use agents coming from, when it comes to these different enterprises that you guys are talking to. Like, how are they looking at them? How do they want to use them? Are they using them as individual workers, or do we see this kind of narrative coming up around AI companies, right, where agents will kind of do everything? Is that the
Agent
use case?
workers.
Yeah, or is that the use case, or how are we to think about it?
Yeah. Sorry. You want to go, Spencer?
you go ahead.
I was gonna say essentially it's the biggest thing is yes, like actually, so what, like for instance, one of our customers is a very interesting situation. She's like, oh, super excited about deploying these because it means my employees can focus on more like actually like meaningful work. And so then we ended up like building out computer use agents for this one particular essentially like workflow that was consuming up like 60 to 80% of that worker's time. And actually within like 2 weeks of deploying that, she had told us that like, oh, like I had to let that person go because this thing was just actually just better. Which was weird.
Oh wow.
Yeah, which was like actually like really like I guess like it's because you would almost think that if you could hire somebody to do something maybe for cheaper, or if you could just have a human do it, that okay, maybe that would be the default. But it turns out like when you have an AI employee doing something perfectly, that's 24/7 and gets it right every time, and it's predictable, it turns out that's just very valuable.
At first I was like, I was like really like moved by this story that you were telling. Like, wow, agents can do the busy work and the humans can do the meaningful work. Wow, this is actually, maybe it is different than I thought. Maybe AI isn't coming for our jobs. And then lo and behold, that employee got let go because the agents did it better. I guess that's, I mean, but that's, I think the moment that it clicked for everyone was your tweet, Nick. I think that's when it kind of made sense to not just us here in little crypto land, but just broadly the consumer side was just people all over. They were all kind of, it kind of made sense to them. So talk to us a little bit about that. Like, are there consumer products like now that are going to be, there's a lot of interest just for people to use this themselves and to kind of dig into that. How are they to
Yeah,
think
how's
about
the
that?
reception also been from your viral tweet?
It's been very good. We've seen a huge increase in adoption and customers, and I think it's been interesting how this has been evolving in terms of the computer use space over time. I don't know about like how you guys thought about computer use initially when you first heard about it, or just and how that has evolved over time. But for me personally, like when I first started, diving into computer use, it was mainly in the context of like controlling a mouse, clicking on things that we would click on, typing into fields that we would type into, operating software the way we operate software. But actually, I think my opinion and perspective on computer use has evolved, and I've realized I think that that's like half of the picture, and the other half of the picture is like the whole Claude Code and Claude Cowork moment, which is AI being able to manage your file system, organize your folders, access like everything that's fit like on your computer, and do it through the terminal, and just natively bashing into all of your files and accessing it that way. So there's like, that's, I think in one of my videos that I made on running like an agent 24/7 on Orgo in the cloud, was like I explained it like you can imagine maybe there, you have two hands for your agent, and one hand is computer use, like controlling the cursor, the keyboard, and typing and selecting fields, and the other hand is actually just being able to navigate the files natively and bash into them and code and create projects and folders and stuff like that. So these things combined, I think, are computer use agents. And so that means doing really both of those. And that unlocks like everything that you could ever imagine being done on a computer. I mean, that's what an agent can now do.
We have 25 minutes left, and I want to get to some core questions, but I also wanted to follow on from this tweet. And Chill, I don't know if you're headed here, but any like outcomes in terms of like, did you sign new deals from that viral tweet? Have you seen an uptick of customers that have signed up, uptick of potential users?
Yes. Yeah, it's been pretty significant. Both.
What is significant? Like, are we talking thousands, 10, like give us.
We've had a several 1,000% gain on influx of customers, and we have new agent startups and companies who are wanting to use the infrastructure for their own like agent applications.
I guess I'm sorry, keep going. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, go ahead. I was just saying, just both for like consumer agent startups, and then also just like more business enterprise agent startups.
Got it. And I guess a question I had too was it clicked for the consumer. So I'm guessing it's from what you've mentioned around user growth. I'm guessing it's clicking for clients now, just exactly how much they can do. And I guess are we seeing larger companies starting to be interested in this versus just kind of like what's the size of clients? How has that evolved over time?
Yeah. One of the latest companies we're working with in insurance, they're like the fourth biggest AMS insurance company and provider in the world, and they have a need. It's at both levels. It's very interesting. So it's at the level of automating actual workflows and using like computer use in terms of like actually just navigating the browser or applications on the computer itself. But then also there's the other side of that, which like the executive himself is like wants actually essentially kind of like a personal agent, kind of like what you've seen with Claudebot in terms of him just managing his own schedule and his own day and his own meetings and everything like that. So it's having an impact both in terms of automating workflows that employees are spending a lot of time doing. That's a lot of manual data reentry workflows. In the context of this company, it's for insurance forms, and then in the context of just managing executives and their time, it's actually also a surprising use case. I've seen a lot of it.
All Green Candles has a question here. Does your infra support enterprise implementations now, or are you guys scaling to that?
Spencer, I guess I don't know. Is it like a technical question of like, can we technically handle like enterprise load?
Let's get a Spencer technical answer on this one.
Yeah, I mean, we support to an enterprise level. Like most of our clients are startups, SMB, and going into like mid-market sort of enterprises. Yeah, I mean, other than the fact that we're not, I guess the one lacking thing is we're not specifically like haven't built out that like the specific like HIPAA or these industry specific what do you call it, data certifications. So I guess that's the main thing that we would need for, I guess, like the more Fortune 500 companies. Yeah, I mean, at a pure scale level, like we can support enterprise level workloads. But yeah, most of our customers today are like SMB going into like these mid-market enterprises, and that's, I think, for the at least foreseeable future, that's going to be our focus as like our main customers and who we work with.
And they pay per agent, or what's the revenue model again? I remember our last stream we were just starting to talk about that.
Yeah, we actually have a few different models depending on customer and like what they need. So a lot of customers just pay for like pure infrastructure. Like, okay, like I need 50 computers, I need 100 computers, and just pay for that way, and like a reoccurring model. We have one customer starting to pay like a usage-based model for like compute hours. And we have had like a few mid-market companies and SMBs like start to pay for implementations, and then also the work processed for their specific industry. So you can imagine like, okay, like you could fill out 100 forms, for example, and get paid per form. So it's actually
Whoa, that's
greatly
cool.
yeah we're actually greatly varying like between customer and experimenting with a lot of stuff.
Yeah. It's very flexible. We have a like very you could price this in a lot of different ways. Like Spencer was saying, the more traditional thing is, you know, charging up front for custom implementation, retaining on the back end off of either usage or deliverables. And so, but like it's interesting because, you know, you could charge, you know, customers on time of usage per hour on a per hour basis and things like that. What we're finding a lot of success with is more of like this kind of usage based on the back end pricing.
Yeah, so we had a guy come on and say there's like 60 million white collared workers in America, and then like each worker makes like an average of $50,000, and people are always trying to be like, you know, point to like, okay, what's the value? That's like obviously in the trillions of potential GDP. In this sense, like our company saying, all right, you know, that worker we paid 80K to, now we're going to give, you know, 50K of that to Orgo, or maybe it's a lot less, but like 20K of that to Orgo. And that's the future. And you guys are kind of arbitraging some of that value. Like, I don't know, does the revenue flow in that way, or am I totally like misthinking it?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's like two things to think about here. I think in a general sense, I think like an interesting thing to think about is, yeah, it's like, okay, it's like, what does it mean? Like, is this job going to go away? Like, okay, like if you think about like white collar jobs, like what jobs are like definitely not going away? I think there's like a lot of them. Like, a lot of people say software engineers are going to die, but I don't really think that's the case. I think software engineers will be around for a while. You know, there's a lot of jobs that will kind of stick around. And I think there's a large set of these jobs that are kind of very manual today in like an enterprise setting. So yeah, I mean, I guess like in what companies, like, I mean, you know, it's like, okay, imagine like a job, you know, you pay someone $40,000, $50,000 per year or something like that. You know, maybe like, I think it's like agents can do kind of, depending on the job, like do the job kind of more efficiently than a human. So maybe, okay, so if a job you pay him 50,000, you can, I don't know, maybe pay an agent 40,000 per year. It's like that. And I think also kind of like outcome based as well. Like, you know, it's like what can an agent actually?
Yeah,
it's like a useful way to think about it.
Cool. I don't. Yeah, go ahead, Nick, if you want to finish this, because I do want to talk product and a few other things before we. But yeah, go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna also touch on like it's also interesting the opportunity provided for companies who can, you know, if they can have an agent do something, what does that mean that their employees can now do otherwise that drive actual like business outcomes? So, you know, if you can save X amount of time from having to, you know, do manual data repetitive workflows, does that mean that you can close more deals, close more sales for the actual business itself and drive revenue that way? So like charging in terms of like how to price these things and how to charge for agents, it's essentially just based on the value that's created for that customer. You know, can you capture, can you get in the flow of that and capture 20, 30, 40% of that?
Awesome. I want to get to some product updates because I think we've talked about the opportunity, some of the success. And guys, if you have questions, keep dropping them in the chat. Shout out Rambo for really great threads, keeping me on track here. You have a new site, and I also see that there's this new thing called templates, and I'm logged in here, Spencer, from the first time we did this. So
I think Josh is muted.
Oh, am I?
I think I can hear you, Josh.
Yeah, StreamYard does this. Where can you ask if he can hear you, Chill?
Can you hear me okay, Nick?
Spencer, can you hear us?
Am I muted?
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
Yeah, this is a Nick. Nick is maybe glitching here. So we'll maybe
We can bring him
get
back in a
Nick
sec.
to. Yeah, can you just message Nick to reset
Got
his
you.
setup? Maybe rejoin.
Yep.
Spencer, I want to maybe ask, like, these templates, these are new, right?
Yeah. This is actually a bit under construction now, but yeah. Yeah, it's available in the SDK, but yeah, we have these like kind of templates we built to like have predefined desktops. We first started with like business customers, and like we're starting to like roll this out for like self-serve as well.
Yeah, so it's the idea here. I get some idea, like you're kind of trying to help the user understand like maybe what they need a little bit. So I selected the data analytics one. So if I go here, like just walk me through kind of this workflow, because I'd love to show people, unless you want to run the demo. So please, if you do, let me know. But select data analytics, then I can select use template. And are you preloading software on here for that use case? Is that?
Yeah, it's like being able to pre-boot a desktop with all the specific software like an agent would need to do its specific job. So you can imagine like what we're building with that is like if you kind of go to a new job and log into the computer, it like already has all the software ready to go that you need to do that specific job. And then that's kind of like what we're building around templates.
Okay, so I selected the data analytics template. I'm adding a new computer here. And so we'll let that kind of boot up. But please walk me through, if you can, anything that I can kind of share, unless maybe Nick, you'd be better versed to run a demo, Nick, if you'd like to.
Nick, can you hear us now? Oh, gotcha. He still can't hear anyone but Spencer.
Oh man.
So we'll have to try him in a sec.
Spencer, are you able to walk us through a quick demo here? Oh, you're muted, buddy.
Yeah, the templates is like I don't know. It's a bit broken in the UI. I think you can do it through the SDK, but yeah, I mean the templates is kind of a thing where you just pre-boot software onto the computer.
Right.
So just like
okay,
go with a certain set of applications. Yeah.
So all right, so we're gonna test this out. I mean, again, this is live demo. You're running this through the SDK, which is totally fine. But if I had this, for example, like so I select the data analytics, can I tell it to like open Excel and like do something? What's a prompt that I can maybe give it?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think that'll work. Yeah, that's good too.
So like open Excel and pull in, I don't know, like movie data from the internet or something like
that. Yeah, sure, that works.
On Batman sales at movie theaters. All right. This is what I wanted. Oh man, I probably spelt that incorrectly. This is what I wanted Nick to maybe run us through here. So that was
yeah. I mean, I think this will be. I mean, we've done a ton of like infrastructure improvements. Like I think this part will kind of be no like surprise to you. I think it'll be kind of similar to before. We're rolling a lot of stuff for business customers, and that's kind of the focus right now. We'll roll product updates kind of in the next month, but that's just kind of like not been the main focus.
Yeah, and by the way, guys, I'm not doing anything here.
Yeah,
this is cool.
And I know we have Nick back now. Nick, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yeah. Can
Awesome.
You guys hear me okay? Sorry about that.
Yes,
It's my browser.
Yeah, all good.
No worries. I'll let you continue though, Josh. But one thing I don't think we got to, and I want to get to before this interview ends at some point, Nick, is your background. I meant to start out with that because, we haven't had you on the stream before, so would love to kind of get that. But I know, Josh, you were kind of finishing up with the demo.
No, go for it, Nick. Quick background.
Yeah, let's run it, Nick.
Yeah. So I'd always kind of been entrepreneurial. I first started in actually doing medical diagnostics. I started out there with doing a lot of like COVID tests. I'm sure you guys have actually used a lot of like, you've seen the paper COVID tests, things like that. So I have a biotech background formally, and then started building actually software for kind of educational technology, helping students get into medical school with this software I built. Just sold that and started working out here in SF on kind of just new ideas, and stumbled into Spencer, learned about computer use in Orgo, and I just started building on top of it. And it was actually just started getting customers for myself and building computer use agents for businesses. And then Spencer and I were like, we should work together. And then that's how
a little bit of lore, because Nick and Spencer is a good combo. The chat loved the Nick and Spencer super team here. But a little bit of lore is we were streaming with Spencer, and I'm like showing him the Nick video. And I know Spencer knew you from before, but I was like, yeah, you should get Nick to run your sales or something. I don't know if I said that or not, but I definitely was thinking about it. So
yeah, I was like, sure, why not?
Nick, do you want to run the demo, please? Can you show us some stuff that because I'm on here just like, LARPing my best, but the chat doesn't want to see me do it. They would love to see kind of different setups you have. And by the way, guys, like I'm not touching anything here. This thing is going and getting data from the internet on its own.
Yeah, I was like, okay, should I show, kind of like some of the more business demos that we're doing for our clients? And I was like, okay, maybe don't want to show, because there's like, okay, some information, leak that. But I think, so what I was actually cooking on is,
no, did we lose Nick?
I think we might have lost him. Let's see if we can get him back. And I think he's back.
There we go.
Am I back?
Yeah,
sorry, boys, about my. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to build off of. You can hear me, okay?
Yeah, you're good. Go.
Okay. So I'm just building off of the kind of the traction from the whole giving your agent a computer thing. And in that video, I demonstrated one agent on one computer. And so just heads up, I don't have this ready yet, but I will probably have it ready by today, and you'll see it on Twitter. But I'm going to probably be demonstrating as large of a scale, probably between 50 to 100 for agents working together and swarming on a problem.
Oh my gosh, please.
Using Orgo.
And
I did
just
this at the hackathon. Go ahead.
Yeah, real quick. I just right now Orgo is requesting access to my clipboard, I think, on my browser at least. I don't know if it wanted to paste anything in, but this got all the data, by the way, guys. So you can see that it went and got the data, and it's continuing to do things, and I can interact with it too. I don't know if Orgo agents get mad when the humans kind of intervene or not, but here we are. Go ahead, Nick. If you want to share your screen and take over a demo, we'd love to see it.
So I have, okay, let me see. Give me 1 second. Let me find my video.
Yeah, no rushing, guys. Like, I know you guys are excited, but like also Chill and I are really excited. So like, yeah, this
dude,
is
50 agents at one or up to, I'm not sure the exact number, but up to 50 agents at one time. Again, just a moment where it all just clicks and it makes sense. The kind of massive potential that this has.
Yeah, I can show you. So I'm gonna have that one ready today. The one I have ready right now, I'll just share my screen. It's essentially what we built this weekend at this hackathon. A couple buddies were hacking on Orgo, showing like a full stack application of like agents swarming a task. So let me share my screen.
Yep.
And I can do that.
Tab it up as soon as you do that.
Okay.
This is going to be insane. Still, to see multiple at work, for me, I've never seen that before. So
All right, you
I'm
good to
ready.
go?
Yep, this is just 4 of them, and I'll give a little context. So this is just 4 today. Like I said, I'll have maybe 50 to 100 of them, and I'll put that video out. I didn't get it in time for this show, but I'll have it today. But this is 4 of them, and they're kind of just swarming a task that I gave them on. Hey, I'm meeting with this company. It's a big enterprise company. We need to do research on them and aggregate as much information as we can on them. And so here's 4 agents. I named them Wednesday, Monday, Friday, Saturday. With a shared context, they all know what tasks each of them are working on. And I'll just play this. You can see I just muted the mic because it's not relevant. You'll see them start swarming the challenge. And so they're all going off doing their own tasks. One of them is on the company's website. One of them's looking up the names of the people. One of them's looking up relevant articles on TechCrunch, looking at the Twitter, downloading information from the web. This is why a computer is very important. You could download PDFs, access those. It's sending screenshots back at me. It's sending updates back at me. They're all, look at it. It's like, this is a group chat of agents.
And they're coalescing in that middle chat there, right?
That's right. That's right. That's a Telegram group chat. And they're just all giving me updates of what they're doing.
Right. And the human, that's in natural language. Do they have context in their own kind of alien language amongst each other, and they're just doing the chat for the human to follow?
They actually no, they just communicate with each other via in that they had a shared workspace, and they would mark tasks as complete just in natural English, so you could actually as far as an observability thing, you could see what your agents are doing, and yeah, it's they all have context over who's working on what and what's done and what needs to be finished, and this is just at a scale of 4. I think this gets really interesting when you get to 10 to 50 to 100 of them. So I'll be able to show that today. Do you guys have any interesting ideas you want to see for when I do that?
Anything that makes money would be great. But I don't know if you could, anything. Yeah, keep doing what you're doing. This is great.
Yeah. That's the big thing
when I think of it.
Right. That's the duality, is that the real business drivers. This is why we're working with businesses, is because at the end of the day, we want to be first and foremost providing value, economic productivity. That is the first and foremost important thing. This kind of virality stuff is great for mindshare, to know that okay, Orgo is a place where you have computers for agents, so that developers have this in their mind. They keep seeing this. Over time, this just becomes the native go-to platform for providing a computer for your agent. So there's this duality, right? For that kind of mind share, these viral videos, they're great. For actually driving real productive business outcomes and driving revenue and growing as a serious company, as we're trying to not just be some kind of toy. This is an infrastructure orchestration company for computers at scale. So for that, we're deploying across law, insurance, manufacturing, distribution, all these industries, so that we can find vertical use case applications of computer use, abstract on that. What are the key productizable takeaways? How can that improve our infrastructure, our core offering, our core product? And that's how this all works together.
As people continue to as their understanding of computer use agents evolve over time, we know that that's going to kind of take time. I mean, us as investors and people that are interested in this, our own perception of computer use agents has evolved from the point of discovery to now. Of all the people that kind of see and they understand the impact and the value of this, what industries are kind of picking up on this quickly, or who is picking up on this more quickly than others?
Honestly, it's very interesting that across all various verticals and industries, there are very common patterns, and this is actually very surprising to me. Actually, is that a lot of the things that need to be automated across these companies and businesses and industries, at the abstract, it's very similar. You're taking data from somewhere. You need to have it on 20 different platforms. It's a very manually repetitive, time-consuming process. There's errors involved when you do this manually that cost thousands, hundreds of thousands, or millions of dollars in cost if you get them wrong. So like these sorts of more boring processes are what, you know, at the abstract is being automated at the business level.
Got it. Spencer, I don't know if you're there. Maybe Nick, because we want to start wrapping this conversation up. So if there's any final questions, guys, in chat, drop it in there. But maybe Nick, like, let's wrap up with final thoughts with you, and then we're gonna ask Spencer some final wrapping questions. Yeah, just kind of like, is there anything else you think the audience should know about, you know, Orgo, what you're excited about, etc.?
Yeah, I think, like, to me, something that I can just think forever about is that, like, if you really just meditate on what it means to make computers for agents, I mean, you can really go down the rabbit hole of how big that gets. I mean, let's think about, and I just like to think about, okay, what was the other time that we created computers for somebody? It was computers for people, and it was Apple. And they created the personal computer for people. We're at a point now in human history where we have agents that are going to be smarter than us. They are smarter than us. They'll be able to do more things than us. And that probably means they need more capable computers, and they need more capable infrastructure to orchestrate among those computers. This is a really interesting question. It's what we're 100% focused on. And I think that will be, because of our focus, that will be the thing that makes us win.
Wow, that's a clip, bro. That's an awesome clip. Okay, so we're gonna clip that. I love that. Spencer, there's, you know, you announced you know, Street Foundation as an area you're going into in terms of taking the token and whatnot. Maybe can you just like wrap in all those updates, either product, token itself, and what, you know, also what you're excited about. You also talked about raising around the last time. How is that looking and working out? I'm sure after Nick's videos here, those conversations, I'm sure, were easy before, but they're even easier now.
Yeah, so that kind of remains the same to us. Like late spring is kind of the target that we're going for to raising our next. So that'd be, you know, late spring. So around May is kind of like the where we're looking. And I think for us, like we talk about this a lot. Like we're very like we really enjoy like fundamental approaches, like, you know, like not raising for the sake of raising. Like we really want to like make customers happy, like have strong retention numbers, start moving up market and get those numbers where we want them to be. And yeah, right now late spring, it looks like that's around the timeline that we'll hit what we want to hit.
And use of capital, any ideas or like how you would use that capital?
Yeah, so this is actually a matter of like the business model that we it's actually a bit changed over time too. We kind of have two primary areas that we're going after, like you mentioned, selling infrastructure to agent startups and automating workflows in enterprise. So the first part is doubling down on infrastructure, and moving up the kind of software and hardware stack to be a little bit closer to hardware. You know, it's like right now we run in multiple clouds. We want to optimize for kind of more at the hardware level, like run more bare metal servers, like these things. The closer you get to hardware, the more capital intensive it is, which it makes it kind of, in that sense, you can kind of build out a deeper and deeper infrastructure moat, which is a kind of venture scale capital intensive sort of thing. And the other part is the kind of model that we're doing right now with enterprises is, you know, we're going into these businesses to try like understand their day-to-day work, build an implementation, and then like get it as a normal part of their kind of how they work. So it's kind of this, it's a bit I guess trendy. I'm not sure I like the word, but kind of like the forward deployed engineer model, except we are just the forward deployed engineers. So it's like we're starting to figure out that model. So, you know, that's something that you can scale with capital. Let's say, you know, like what Palantir did. Like so we just, you know, get our first customers, scale it out, and then with capital we can hire more engineers. So it's a mix of like investing in infrastructure and then people as well.
Got it. One last, just on Street Foundation, any updates on timing there, or updates you can provide generally on your stuff with Street?
Yeah, so I mean that I typically tweet as soon as I can. I will say I was talking to them recently, and I think something will update around that soon. Yeah, generally I don't give definitive timelines, and
okay.
I give updates as soon as I can.
All right, soon with the trademark. Chill, you had a final question for Nick.
Yeah, just one final question. I guess this is just more kind of looking out into the future, kind of visualizing this. Dom had a question earlier in chat. He said, when will we see the first zero human billion-dollar company? How far out is that reality? I don't know if we see a zero human billion-dollar company. I feel like there has to be some sort of human involvement to really steer that ship. But yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think it'll probably first you'll see the first one-person billion-dollar company, and I don't know if that. Yeah, as far as timelines, it's unclear. As far as capabilities, it seems like that we have it. I mean, like this moment right now that we're in, where like agents are able to do all these various different things. They've been able to do these things, you know, maybe for the past 6 to 12 months. It was just like there's genuine time and lag in the market of being able to put these pieces together. So it's all about like the timing of who is the person who's going to put all the moving parts together. And I think that, you know, that there's like, look, you can have agents right now do everything that you need to do in the context of workflow you have maybe for your marketing or your distribution or your onboarding or your customer success or your client acquisition. Like there's all these different, you know, moving pieces of the flywheel in a business. And the important part is that no piece of that flywheel can break. If one piece of the flywheel breaks, the flywheel just can't spin. So once the agents can solve every single piece of the flywheel, which they can right now, but if they're pieced together to do that, then that's where you get the flywheel. And if it's $1 billion scale of a business, then now you have a one-person $1 billion business.
Let's do it. One person. Right now we're looking at a two-person $1 billion business. But hey, guys, absolutely love what you guys are doing. Nick, the community is going to keep amplifying your content. And Spencer, we really appreciate all the support you have for MCG. Orgo is a sponsor of MCG, so disclosure there. And we're going to keep rooting for you guys. So keep up the good work. And I think we touched on anything. If there's anything we missed, please let us know.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, great catching up with you guys. We have some exciting product updates, and hopefully I'll get you some responses on Street soon.
Yes. Post Street, we'll do a little stream. Chill, go ahead.
Nick, Spencer, no, I was just gonna say we really appreciate you guys popping back on. Friends of the show, absolute chads, and definitely we'll see you again, hopefully soon at some point. But we'll be watching. We'll be here to cover whatever updates you have for us. But great, continue to build, and you know we're excited for what's to come. So appreciate you guys joining us today.
Awesome.
Cheers, guys.
See you guys.
Cheers, boys.
Dude,
Nick
wow,
is a fan, bro. Let's go. What a stream. What an interview. I think that was that. Yeah.
Oh,
shout out Rambo in chat.
Yeah,
the Clippers, they're gonna be busy. Our boy Ashesh, if you're watching this, Ashesh, we love you. We appreciate you for all the hard work that you do. But you're gonna be even hard. You're about to have so much work from this stream, bro. But love that interview. Love that interview. Got some nice little pieces of alpha, some good chunks there. If you guys were listening, some good stuff. And I can't wait to see Nick's tweet later. 50 agents working at the same time.
Yeah, guys, look, this field is growing extremely fast. It's only been September, 4 months. We've been working with Orgo for like 4 or 5 months, covering Orgo on MCG. Again, sponsor the show. Really appreciate that. And the progress that's been made in 5 months. I think he said insane. Like a few 1,000% in user growth just from like
let's just say 2,000%. He said a few. He said a few, let's just say at least 2,000% growth in users from that tweet from Nick.
Yeah.
From that alone.
I'm like mind blown right now.
Shout out All Green Candles in chat, bro. Shout out to you. First full stream I tuned into, almost the full thing. Great stuff. Highest alpha per minute live stream in crypto. Appreciate you joining us and hope to see you again soon, brother. You had some really good questions, some really good takes as well in chat. Yeah.
This is Crypto Jones. This is a great question, maybe to add to the replies to Nick. And maybe just tag CC us so we can keep track of that. Reg, yes, we did definitely thank you for pinging that as a reminder. So the kind of two things. I mean, Orgo's raising a Series A, and then obviously there's going to be the street thing. I don't know what happens first. But man, keep in mind, like, Cled's going live on Street too, and those are two great projects. Like, holy shit, you got Cled and Orgo kind of like in the same conversation. Dare I say meta? I think they're just too wild.
Can I also say he said that they're working with the 4th biggest AMS provider in the world. Can we like look? For anyone that was listening, or if you're just joining now, or if there's some things you didn't hear, you might want to go back and watch that interview. Like there is some deep alpha that was covered, and he said he kind of gave us a little bit more of a little bit better of a timeline on they've been saying spring for the raise, but today he kind of gave us a little bit more detail there. And again, go back and watch that. Go back and watch the interview. But yeah, who do we have? Who do we have coming next?
Bro,
here?
Like, think about this for a second.
Yeah,
and we are trying to get someone on next year, but like these corporations, like we're talking trillions of dollars worth of value, salaries. Like what's 60 million times 50K? Think about it.
Can I give you my take? Can I give you my take on this? All right, guys. So everyone knows that, you know what, bump this. Hold on. You can't see me, but for just to let you guys know, I'm actually standing up in the office now. So I'm actually raising the desk and I'm standing up for this little thesis that I'm about to give you guys. You might even hear my desk raising it right now. But anywho, here's my broad take on computer use. So every nation in the world is in debt. And if any of you have ever listened to Raoul Paul talk about his everything code thesis, it basically there's debt and demographics. Every nation in the world is deeply in debt. Every nation in the world, from a demographic perspective, the population is actually going down quite quickly. So in order to get out of debt, either there needs to be a miracle, or there needs to be some sort of boom in productivity. And so that's why AI has been extremely important and has caught the attention of so many, because it can actually be the source of this productivity boom. We've already seen what happens when you have ChatGPT in an app in your phone, but going back to Orgo, what happens when you have an agent that can actually power and drive economic value? What happens when AI agents can directly impact the GDP of entire nations? And so this is why you see massive investment happening in things like OpenAI, Anthropic, and others. But kind of computer use is the next stage of this. Like LLMs, ChatGPT, and some of these and these others, Claude and others, these are LLMs, right? But we're talking about agents, people that can like go and contribute autonomously. And so when you have the mix of a company needing productivity to get out of the hole that it's in. And then you have something that can, like an Orgo, that can spin up 10, 20, 30, 40,000 of these agents that can power economic activity and drive value for an entire country. You actually get a massive, massive tailwind. That's exactly what's happening. And I think Nick put it very eloquently in the interview. He basically said that his own perception and view of computer use agents have been evolving over time. And I think what you'll see here over the next 12 to 24 months with Orgo is, that evolution of what is possible with computer agents. And then there will be a realization. They said in the interview, they're working with mid-size, mid-level kind of enterprise companies. They're not, they haven't broke into the Fortune 500 companies just yet. And that's the operative word, yet, in my opinion, because again, when people start to kind of wake up to what can actually be done, then that's when people start losing their jobs. But that's also where the productivity boom comes that can kind of power the rise out of this hole that all these nations around the world are in. So that's my broad view of computer use agents. It's my broad view of Orgo and kind of the impact that it can have not only domestically but globally. And shout out the boy, the boy Josh, stream notes on 10. I mean, dude, massive.
Yo, so if you're new to the show, I know All Green Candles, shout out you. You're new to the show. Welcome. I always do stream notes on every segment. I'm sure people use these, so they like paste it into some sort of LLM and write their own content from it. So it's, you're reading research content on the internet, probably maybe from MCG. But anyhow, what's really interesting was these revenue models. So there was pay per use computers, which I think understand. For compute was something that Spencer described in the last session, and he talked about bare metal servers, which basically means like standing up your own server farm or compute facilities. What happens, Chill, when you have an enterprise that has thousands of agents running and all of a sudden they're like, oh, we have a big work process, we need to go buy compute? Orgo now kind of can say like, oh, you have to use our compute potentially, right? So now they're not only providing the infrastructure, the per agent hosting, but they're also going and saying, hey, we'll give you the compute itself so that you can complete these tasks. And a specific example Spencer gave is like, okay, so we have the agent now, they have a Windows PC. What if they want to go just, download Battlefield 6 and start playing Battlefield? Well, right now with the bare, Windows PC that they get, they can't run Battlefield. They would have to go out and get additional compute, and Orgo can provide that compute services. When I heard that, I was like, oh my gosh, that's a massive market. Like that is such a massive market.
Yeah.
And then implementations. Okay. So this is like custom enterprise setups, and then specific work processes really piqued my attention. This was like, let's say you have an industry specific work process that requires some industry specific knowledge. Again, they could have a marketplace potentially for these work processes. And we always wonder like, okay, if, are you going to need Microsoft Excel in the future, or agents just going to kind of have their own work processes? And like, maybe that's the new software license, right? Instead of buying another software license, you'll buy a work process. Bro, I was like, holy, give Orgo 3 years.
Yeah.
Give Orgo 3 years and you see this level of execution, and, they raise good money. They can scale out the team. I mean, Orgo could be worth, if they do it right, could be a huge unicorn. Like we're talking massive, massive size. If they can start pulling in and disrupting kind of what used to be done by humans. And like, guys, look, I don't like the idea of humans being replaced. I don't like it either, but it might be the reality. And if it is,
one door closes, another opens.
What do you need to do to like align for that future? And like, that's where I see, this is why I love, working with Spencer and Nick is because this might be one of those pathways.
Yeah, insane, insane when you really think about it. And I think Dex Hunter in chat really said it well. He said this is one of those coins where nobody gets it until it pumps like mad. Yeah, for sure. Nobody like no one is really no one is really getting it. Nick said it though. Like they're thinking his thinking of computer use agents evolved over time. That's what's going to happen with people. It's just going to have to be something that, okay, you get exposed to the idea, but then eventually at some point, something that you read or something that you see, it just makes it click. And for many people, that was the tweet from Nick not too long ago. But yeah, massive stuff cooking here. Real quick, can we switch gears? I want to talk about, let's see here. I want to talk about something real quick. Have you checked out the dollar recently by any chance?
All green candles, completely agree here.
To think
No
they're
joke.
also in Silicon Valley, as someone from there, it's no joke how connected the valley is. Yeah, 100%.
Chill the dollar. Yeah. Hundo P.
So real quick, let me just share my chart. So a lot of people talking about kind of like, Bitcoin lagging the, metals and commodities and stuff like that. There's something happening with Japan. Basically the US needs to start printing in order to buy Japanese bonds, and that's going to cause, the dollar to weaken over time. And what we're seeing here is the weakening of the dollar in real time. Essentially, money printing is going to start. I'm trying to track down the tweet for you guys. I believe I had sent this the other day because there's a tweet that actually talks about this in greater detail. Actually, here it is right here. Let me pull it up for you guys real quick. But I think this is really really important for us to understand. Just kind of this whole topic of conversation with Orgo and where things are headed. We had this conversation yesterday as far as stable coins and just adoption of crypto in general. But with the weakness of Bitcoin as of late, a lot of people might be asking, man, is the narrative around Bitcoin dead? I mean, Bitcoin was supposed to be digital gold, but it doesn't seem like anyone wants to, buy based on that narrative alone. But lo and behold, what happens when the dollar is getting weaker, that typically is a good signal for Bitcoin. So look, I think I'm still bullish 2026. We still have to, there's still some price action that we need to get through before we get to completely up only candles. But I think one kind of tailwind that can push us to that end is this weakening of the dollar. And this tweet kind of breaks it down very nicely. It says the Fed is signaling yen intervention again, just like 1985. Last time this crashed the dollar by nearly 50%. By nearly 50%. And so now we don't really have to look at what happened in 1985 too closely. Basically, the dollar fell almost 50%. The yen doubled in value. And basically, we're in a similar spot today where the Fed will need to basically print money in order to kind of support the Japanese yen, basically print dollars to buy bonds. And this will create troubles of its own, but in the short term, before that happens, it should pump markets. It should pump everything, to be honest. Stocks, commodities, anything valued in U.S. dollars should rise, and that would include Bitcoin. So I'm just waiting on, I'm waiting on Bitcoin to just catch its wind, man. I'm waiting. But this bodes well for crypto, and still bullish. Still bullish 2026. Still bullish 2026 overall. Couple quick while we wait for our next guest. I'm not sure if
I don't think we're gonna get them joining says their mic is not working.
Oof, tough.
Oh, I know, tough. Honestly, all good though.
Okay. Well, I'll just riff through some charts while we figure that side of things out. Couple charts to call out to you guys. So real quick, just looking at Bitcoin, I actually want to draw attention to this chart that I posted earlier today. Oof. We might have, again, not out of the woods here, but even if we were to just run like just a basic just bar pattern kind of what I'm thinking about with Bitcoin. Boom. This is kind of what I'm thinking about. This is kind of what I'm thinking about with Bitcoin. I've been looking at this for a while. I've even posted this fractal before, not saying that we absolutely have to go all the way back down to 80K, but just saying that this does look like a bear flag. We pointed this out, a few weeks ago, before I left, and I basically said I want to see Bitcoin like completely like kill this zone, man. Let's get back above 100K, because if not, this choppiness in this area here would start to form a bear flag, and that won't be good for us. And that's exactly, unfortunately, what it's doing. And the bear flag is starting to play out. So I think this scenario somewhat is back into play, but I still think this leads to a massively great, 2026. I don't think anyone is expecting it. I think a lot of people, I think they're bearish 2026. The four cyclers, I believe, they're also coming out en masse. And I don't think that I don't think that they'll be happy with the outcome here. I think we're going to go much higher before we go much lower. That being said, a couple of call outs here on some altcoins that are popping off. One was Pump Fund. If you saw my tweet from earlier, we kind of called this one out. But I know Market Watcher also has been posting about this one as well. But I like Pump Fund here. Still have this kind of level to break at 3,200 to kind of completely change market structure. But overall, no more downtrend. We kind of chop sideways a little bit, reclaim weekly support, and this is the area where things get interesting. I'll be looking at some trades on this one here in the near future. So keeping eyes on Pump Fund here.
Maybe another infra player on this one. Could Meteora or Met be putting in a higher low here?
Oh, absolutely. I told you guys already. I've literally called this out on the timeline. I said bottom is in. I drew the green box. You guys know. You guys know my boxes by now, man. Like, if you know all green candles, you're new to the stream, so you might not have seen this before. I draw out boxes on charts and they hit. That's all I'm saying. But I've had this box drawn out on Met for quite some time. This level has held very well for us. I told you guys late December that the bottom is in for Met, and I continue to think that here. On Pump Fund, it's more of just like I'm looking at like longs, some leverage setups. But for Met, this is actually like a hold. This is actually like a long-term play for me, where kind of profits go into a DCA. And I've said it, DCA under 30 is my move here on Met. So looking very good. The numbers in terms of revenue generation look good as well on Met. Another chart that's looking pretty good is Hype. Let me zoom out a little bit here to the daily, and you can see this a little bit more clearly. But another call out that I had on Twitter, I kind of mentioned that we finally are breaking the downtrend. Going back to Trader Mercury's kind of MA strategy as well, we're also seeing that this hasn't broken above this 50 SMA on the I think the 12 hour actually looks a lot better. We haven't gotten we haven't held for a long time above the 12-hour 50 SMA, as you can see, but this is a decisive move out of basically a 4-month downtrend. I'm not a SMA guy all the time, but I love it for context. And basically what this is signaling is a momentum flip. So I'll be also looking for some longs on hype on pullbacks as well. So love this breakout here. Looks very clean. But as you can see, like on the 12-hour, we have a couple closes above already. That looks a lot different than anything than what we saw up here. It looks a lot different, decisive, and the chart looks pretty strong. So, and this is all in a crap market. So when markets turn, you know, can only imagine what these charts will look like. So really good to kind of keep an eye on what these charts are doing now. Another call out, last one on kind of majors, is ZEC. And I've literally said it many times. Falling wedges are playing out. And here we see a falling wedge on ZEC, and that's playing out pretty well. I want to see it kind of close above this resistance level marked in red. But let me zoom in a little bit for you guys. You know, any sort of pullback to me is this is another kind of just long pump hype ZEC. These are just kind of like just longs, low leverage plays, nothing to bet the farm on. You know, you can, I guess you can say you can trade some of these with size, but I like to do a little bit of a tasteful leverage here in the right market conditions. But good to watch for pullbacks on this, you know, dipping below 369. So I'll be looking for any sort of like reversal, any signs of like a bounce here in this kind of green box. But that's pretty much it for majors. I think the only other thing that I'll flag is you know, the 4 meme. It saw a nice little strong bounce, but just something I'm watching. Nothing that I'm really trading actively. Another that I'm watching very closely is Melania. The price action is absolute dog water. I don't even know what this is. But as you can see, we're very close to a market structure break on this one. If you look on higher time frames here, I'll go to the 3-day actually. When you go higher time frames, you see that this chart has been basically down only. And it seems now that we're trying to carve out a little bit of a bottom here. And so if we actually flip this market structure break, this red zone that's marked, we're actually flipping momentum. And apparently there's a movie coming out for Melania, apparently to I think January 30th. So I think it's going to be sometime in the next week or two. By the way, there's a mention market open on whether Trump will say the word Melania. And with the movie coming up, likely a very good trade. Still dipping my toes into the prediction market scene. So I'll let you guys know how that goes. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, that's all the alpha that I have for today. You know, as far as stuff that I want to cover with you guys. I think the only other thing, still in GSD, still in PSYOP anime, that's still looking good. Still in repo. We covered Copper Inu earlier. We covered Avicii earlier. Yes, I think we're good. I don't know, Josh, if you don't have anything else, I think I'm good to kind of cut there, but let me know.
Yeah, I think we're good. Ave mentioned CPT. Yeah, man, CPT. I like it. I want to see some products on the site. So I think that's the next catalyst there. Also would like to see, like, you know, some in real world tests and whatnot. But other than that, man, guys, like, look, on-chain is pockets of interest right now, but
Yeah,
little tough still.
last thing I'll call out is ETH looking really good here. Basically at the bottom of a range, headed to the top at the very least. I don't really have a near or a midterm view on Ethereum right now, but Solana, oh my goodness, Solana. I've been looking at this and watching Solana and how it reacts at these at this monthly support level, and it's been like an easy long every single time. So here basically anything around like 120 is a good long. Just, you know, don't 100x on the leverage, but looking really good on some of these majors. When you keep track of these zones, like I've had this market structure break charted out on Solana for months. So literally just trading the zones here and hoping for eventually a break above to kind of change character fully. But guys, bullish on 2026. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream today. We covered quite a bit. We had a ton of alpha for you guys. So man, I hope you loved it. Let's cover the schedule going into the rest of the week here. Let me take a look at that real quick. Let me pull up the schedule. We have some extremely nice guests coming on. Let me grab our schedule real quick. I believe it's in the highlights tab. Boom, here we go. All right. So we finished a banger stream today. We started off ripping cards, ripping collectibles with TCG. You guys saw that. And honestly, I really enjoyed that. That was really exciting just to kind of like, whoa, like, what are we going to get? Which cards are we going to open up this time? So I had a good time with TCG, had an awesome conversation with the Swarms dev, and excited to see kind of what his thoughts are on ownership and on, what other plans they're working on. They actually dropped some alpha on stream during that interview. So go back, check that one out. They're working on some new tech that apparently is much better than X402 and what's offered with Coinbase. So you want to go back, watch that, and we'll also have a segment posted on that as well. We had a banger segment with Orgo here with Nick and with Spencer. So want to go back and watch that. Tomorrow we have Grasp on with Riora coming on. Then we have Developer with Developer Token. And then Thursday we have Radar, radar.fun. That chart is actually looking pretty good and holding really well. And then we also have Grand X Trade coming on as well. So we got a fire rest of the week coming up. Friday, we might just hop on stream for an hour, chill with you guys, trade with you guys, and just call it. But this is the schedule for the rest of the week. We'll have all of our interviews and segments posted on the MCG main account. So you want to follow us at MCG Live on Twitter. And if you take a look at our link tree in our bio, you also want to check out some of the stuff that we have there. We have our YouTube. Follow us, subscribe to us on YouTube. We also have MCG on Twitch. We're live streaming on Twitch as well. So if ever Twitter is down, you have the option to go YouTube. You have the option to go Twitch. Follow our Chinese account. Check us out on Moby. And you can also follow us on Spotify and TikTok as well. Appreciate all the love. Appreciate all the support. We'll be seeing you guys here tomorrow for another banger stream on MCG. Until then, trade safe. Appreciate y'all. And we'll see you in the next one.
He would neither go towards the feeding grounds at the edge of the ice, nor return to the colony. Shortly afterwards, we saw him heading straight towards the mountains, some 70 kilometers away. Dr. Ainley explained that even if he caught him and brought him back to the colony, he would immediately head right back for the mountains. But why? But one of the...
If we die, we die. See you on chain.
That's right. We're doing it different.